Court will come to order. It is Monday morning, January the 24th, 2022. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and the Kirk County Commissioners Court is now in session for our regular agenda. If you would, please rise for the pledge and the prayer, which will be led by Commissioner Letts.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, I'd like to thank you for making our lives more fulfilling and help guide us in our decision making. I'd like to ask that you bless us with a little bit of rain. We've gotten very, very dry throughout this area, and you can certainly use that. And Lord, as usual, we ask you to help guide us in our decision making. And finally, Lord, we had a number of our community leaders that passed in the past week, and we ask that you help console those families. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. We'll remind everyone to please turn your telephones either off or to vibrate. And I know some of you have emergency frequencies on there. If you can do something about that, I'd appreciate it. Before we start with public input, I want to remind people that we put a copy of the order, which is number 37814C, that we adopted in November of 2019, which are the court's rules of procedure, conduct, and decorum. I just want to remind everybody about that. With large groups, it limits it to 6 people. Usually the first 6 or the 6 that you agree to have come address the court, and limits the talk to the opportunity to speak to 30 minutes. Historically, I have not enforced that, but we're getting where we're having more and more of these large meetings, that's probably a prudent thing to do because we still have important county business that has to be done. And we do want to make sure that we listen to the citizens and the taxpayers about what your concerns are. So I just want to remind everybody about that. So with that, the first part of our agenda is always public input. And this is the opportunity for the public to come forward and offer input to this court. We don't get to respond, but we certainly listen. And when you do that, we limit it to 3 minutes. We ask you to go to the podium up here, identify yourself by name and address so we know which precinct you're living in. And with that, you have the opportunity to talk about anything that is not on the agenda. If it is on the agenda, we ask you to wait until that agenda item is called. So with that, I'm going to call for public input. Is there anyone who would like to address the court on a matter not on the agenda? Very well. Then we'll move on to Commissioner's comments. Commissioner Precinct 1.
I just want to echo what Commissioner Letts said. It's very dry. There's a lot of fuel out there. Don't be burning. There's no burn ban on Precinct 1, but we have to do that.
I've had calls for similar circumstances, and it is dry, and I caution everybody to please observe the burn ban in Precinct 2.
Precinct 3.
A little bit on the burn ban, that we have exceptions to the burn ban. I don't have it in my precinct right now. I know people are putting it on, but even with the burn ban, there are certain exceptions that people in the public can follow, and if they don't know what those exceptions are, I think all the commissioners know those exceptions. And the other thing is stock show season locally is over. We had a lot of them in the past several weeks. I think they all went very, very well. I think it ended. I didn't hear the results of the grandstand sale, but I know there was a highly competitive stock show, and I would say overall, Kirk County didn't do as well as I'd hoped, but a lot of really good animals, whether it be swine, beef, and goats, lambs, and hats off to all the kids that participated in all those shows.
Without a doubt, I agree with what everybody said about the burn ban and circumstances out there, and even with the exceptions, you got to use common sense, and sometimes that isn't always done, unfortunately. Also, I want to be short. I'm looking forward to our first ESD meeting for Hunt tonight, where they'll elect officers, so that's kind of exciting to get that launched off the ground. Back to the stock show a little bit. Boy, we had AgMech show last week, and it was outstanding what these kids are turning out these days. The Ingram FFA just got $188,000 worth of grant for equipment for their shop. So they're doing good things out there because we need our tradespeople, and that's important. And they continue to do that. I know we got a full agenda, so that's all I got.
Okay. I would like to recognize that Dash Peterson passed away, as well as John Grimes and Alan Hill, all very important people in our community. I certainly want to remember their families and acknowledge their contribution to the quality of life of their town. So with that, let's move on to the consideration agenda. Item 1.1 is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to appoint Tammy Paces to the Kirk County Child Services Board. Ms. Early.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Real quick, I'm just going to tell you a little bit. I'm the president of the Kirk County Child Services Board. We're a statutorily mandated board that serves under your court. We have no overhead. We have all volunteers, no paid staff, and 100% of the funds that we raise go directly to the kids in Kirk County. I wanted to give you a couple examples of some of the things that we've done recently. We bought 126 $75 gift cards at Christmas time for foster kids that totaled $9,375. We also worked with a local eye doctor here in town to purchase some sports goggles for a foster child who wanted to play football and couldn't do that without some pretty expensive goggles. We were very lucky because people in our community work with us to help get these children the things that they need, and we are so appreciative of that. So we have a board of Jody Grinstead, and she's our secretary, and she is awesome, and she really helps keep us organized, and we have to do minutes and post a notice for our meeting, and she's so helpful in doing that. John Carlson is our treasurer, and we have Brenda Hugg, Tom Molnar, Verlene Wallace, Lori Lowe, Bridget Giedemann, and Katie Bass. We received an application from Tammy Paces to be a part of our board, and one of the things that she noted on our application is that she wants to give back to the community and help children in need, and that's exactly what we do. So we are always welcoming new board members, and I'm here before you today to ask that you approve Tammy Paces as one of our new board members, and thank you for all you do, and we appreciate your service to our community.
I move for approval.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve Tammy Paces to serve on the Kirk County Child Services Board. Is there any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Thank you, Kelly. Item 1.2, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding the 2021 Kirk County Historical Commission report. Ms. Leonard is always welcome to have you back in court.
Good morning. I'm Julie Leonard, chairwoman of the Kirk County Historical Commission. And I want to remind everybody that 166 years ago, in 2 days, on January 26, 1856, Kirk County was formed from Bear County District Number 2 at the request of Joshua D. Brown. It was named Brownsboro. It was changed to Kerrsville for his friend and former veteran of the Texas Revolution, Major James Kerr, and Kerr never set foot in Kerr County. Kerrsville became the county seat, and later the S was dropped and the town became Kerrville. From Joshua Brown's shingle camp, located at what is now the 900 block of Water Street, that's across from the Notre Dame Church, grew the county seat of Kerrville. A granite marker was placed on the grounds of the Kirk County Courthouse in 1936 by the state of Texas. The Kirk County Historical Commission, the KCHC, is charged with the protection of Kirk County's historic and cultural resources for the use, education, enjoyment, and appreciation for present and future generations. These purposes are different from organizations that focus on genealogical or family history preservation. We also are a unit of the Texas Historical Commission, and we serve under you, the Kirk County Commissioner Court. We meet at noon the third Monday of each month at the county-owned Union Church building on the Schreiner University campus, with the exception of June, July, August, and December. Because of COVID, we did not meet in January, February of 2021. Our officers of 2021 were Chair Julie Leonard, Vice Chair Bunny Bond, Second Vice Chair Mary Lee Stewart, Secretary Lonza Teague, and Treasurer Wilma Teague. Our KCHC 2021 programs were Bill Rector, who's co-chairman of the Heart of the Hills Heritage Center Board. He reported on the progress of the Heart of the Hills Heritage Center. Monica Clayton, she worked on the Gate of Heaven Cemetery, which was a proposed untold story marker, and it's funded by the Texas Historical Commission. The cemetery was built for Negroes that died from tuberculosis, and it was this marker was approved, and we're working on the narrative for the marker. Wanda Garner Cash did a book report on Pancho Villa's saddle at the Cadillac Bar. Wanda's father and grandfather owned the restaurant and bar in Nuevo Laredo. Dr. Ben Montoya gave a talk from Schreiner University. He's a professor there on Mexican immigration, past and present concerns. Terry Farley, KCHC member and Texas Archaeological Steward. She's also the vice president of Hill Country Archaeological Association. She did a program on trade items in archaic to prehistoric site on the Guadalupe River. She's participating in this important dig in West Kerr County. Joyce Moore with the Texas Parks and Wildlife, she's a Texas Parks and Wildlife biologist, gave a talk on talking turkey, which was our November meeting. Our 63 members volunteered 4,967 hours in 2021. The many projects we participate in are the following. 6 KCHC members are serving on the board of the Heart of the Hills Heritage Center. Tony Box is our KCHC designated representative, which is required by the HHHC. Member Dr. Bill Rector is co-chairman of this organization, and other members are Dr. James Bedwright, Clifton Pfeiffer, Julius Neinhofer, Linda Stone, and I left off Charlie McElvain. The Heritage Center is supported by the City of Kerrville and has received generous support from the HEB Foundation, and it will be a first-class facility to celebrate Kerr County's history. Louis Stevens is our archive chair. He adds KCH records to the county computer and continues to add our records and important documents to our archive stored at Schreiner University Logan Library. These are available to the public. The Kerr County has an agreement with the university for this generous use of their facility. Kerr Regional Center also has copies of all the dozens of KCHC oral histories, and they're also available to the public. Terry Farley attended cemetery and archaeological workshops in person and some virtual ones. She also is documenting unknown and known Kerrville cemeteries. At last count, there were 15 unknown cemeteries. Deborah Gaudier, Monica Clayton, Jeannie Berger, Barbara Oates help and are helping to research these historical markers following. Garrett Insurance Company, Live Oak Ranch, which is the original YO Ranch headquarters, the Gate of Heaven Cemetery at Kerrville State Hospital, the Real Ranch, and Tybee Mountain Cemetery. And we also did the dedication of the Kerrville Glenrest Cemetery in November. Mary Lane Jones prepares proposal for the Kerr County historical documents to the Rescuing Texas History on the North Texas Portals to Texas website. Among our huge presence on this site, which is easily accessible under Kerr, there are dozens of our oral histories, the Kerr County album, tithing newspapers, and many other items. And I've added this year's submission at the end of this report so you can see the scope of our presence on this site. We also have a downtown historical building walking tour brochure and signs chaired by Brenda Williams. We also have the Kerrville Historical Map Project. It's an ongoing project with the Convention and Visitor Bureau. We also, you might have noticed, are working on the courthouse pictorial cases display that are on the entrance to the courthouse. And that committee is Tony Box, Linda Stone, and Wilma Teague. We did a June exhibit at the KCHC called Pieces of the Past and had lectures at the Kirk Arts and Cultural Center. Linda and Mark Stone, Julius Neinhofer, Tony Box, Lonzo and Wilma Teague, Francois Collins, Clifton Pfeiffer, and I participated in that. Deborah Godiger and I worked with the state agencies and their contractors to conduct Section 106 reviews of endangered properties. And most recently, we considered the Fessenden Branch Bridge, which that was not a problem. We also have 847 members on the KCHC Historical Commission Facebook page, and this keeps our members and the public informed of our historical events in Kerr County. Bunny Bond, our vice president, has created a monthly news email flyer to members, organization, and interested individual, publicizing our meeting information, news from the Texas Historical Commission, historical anniversary dates with background interests, including local, state, and national interests. She also has formatted our monthly agenda and mailed to the county clerk to be posted at the courthouse for our monthly meetings. The KCHC also assisted the Hill Country Archaeological Association 3-day field trip in June, attended by 300 or more people. We donated brochures and prepared gift sacks. Members Julius Neinhofer allowed the participants access to his property. Bunny Bond, Wilma Teague, and I prepared the revision of the KCHC bylaws this last summer. I don't have this on here, but the county website is a concern to us because Mike Boland was in charge of our email address on that site, and we don't have his password, and so to Google, we've submitted his death certificate. It's like an act of Congress to get an email access. So we're hoping that we can get this, work with the IT people and get our email address changed and can get email on our website. So that should not be a problem, I don't think. So we've given up on death certificates in Google, so for your information. Also, we also have a new project planned for this March. We're doing a historical photograph exhibit at the KACC. And I won't bore you anymore, but I thank y'all so much for your support. And thank you, Commissioner Ballou, you're our liaison. And I also thank Jody. She always helps with a big smile, all our questions. And I welcome any comments or suggestions for our commission.
Any discussion?
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do. We really appreciate everything that y'all do.
Okay.
She mentioned Wanda Garner's cash book on the Cadillac Bar. I read it a few months back, and if anybody that ever set foot in that historic bar or restaurant, it'd be a good read for them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I don't believe we have any action on that item. Next item on the agenda is 1.3. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to reappoint Bill Cantrell and Gary Noller to the Kerr County Veteran Services Advisory Committee for an additional 3-year term. Commissioner Gibson.
I move for approval of these applicants, and I appreciate the returning for a second term or continued term on that board.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the reappointment of Gary Noller and Bill Cantrell to the Kerr County Veteran Services Advisory Committee. Gary, I believe you wanted to address the court. I've got an application right here.
You should have Gary Noller, 140 Ray Drive, Center Point, Precinct 2. You usually get the biggest applause when I say my report is I have no report. But I would like to simply say that this is according to the original orders, 3-year terms, which expired December 31st, so we should have probably come in December. Byron and Vicky will be up probably in December because we have staggered terms. And I know we have another item here following this, but that's all I've got to say.
Well, and I want to remind you, Gary, that we need to get together because we're working to do the Veterans Day Parade. And I've been to Jeff about this, but I wanted to make sure that we're communicating and the public knows that we're going to do the Veterans Parade this year.
Fine. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
As I make a motion to reappoint, and Gary, Bill, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. You've done a lot of work.
We've got a motion and a second, I think, right?
Yeah.
So those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Let's move right on to 1.4, which is related, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to appoint Jeff Harris to the Kirk County Veteran Service Advisory Committee for a 3-year term. And I talked with Jeff about this and worked with the advisory committee on it, and Jeff's willing to serve. So with that, I'm going to nominate him to serve on the Veteran Service Committee.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, Jeff. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate what y'all do. Moving on to 1.5, consider, discuss, and take and discuss the presentation from Mercy Gate Ministries to partner with the county in submitting a grant application for County Innovations Grant to address the commercial sexual exploitation, and to take appropriate action on approving the resolution required for the grant administration. Carla Solomon.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carla Solomon. I am the Director of Outreach and Training for Mercy Gate Ministries. Our office is located at 3170 Junction Highway in Ingram, Texas. Mercy Gate Ministries is dedicated to helping those affected by human trafficking, exploitation, and sexual trauma. We have residential and non-residential programs for females 18 and older. We provide restoration programs as well as educate and equip communities on how to fight trafficking in their area. We offer a spectrum of services for our program participants with the goal to provide resources, assistance, and relational advocacy to these women so they can heal from their trauma and ultimately become thriving members of our society. Our programs offer a variety of curriculum, including life skills classes, peer support groups, medical, psychological care on case-by-case basis. We are coming before you today to propose a partnership once again. We are seeking to reapply for the governmental grant, the County Innovations, to address commercial sexual exploitation. The purpose of this proposal and partnership is due to the fact that the application can only be submitted by the county. The grant is an effort by the Governor's Office for Innovative Projects that prevent, investigate, and/or prosecute the commercial sexual exploitation of the people in Texas. This grant awards a minimum of $10,000 with no maximum, and according to the requirements and eligibility, we qualify under the diversion and innovative program portion for our county. We have a grant writer who will actually assist in the completion and the application and manage the 12-month commitment of the said grant, which is due February the 8th. Our hope is to be awarded this grant so we may be recognized as court-appointed advocates for individuals with drug and/or prostitution charges, or those on probation or in the court systems who are considered confirmed or at risk for exploitation. Over the past year, we have worked very closely with the Kirk County court system, law enforcement, including adult probation. Through our statewide collaborative efforts and partnerships, Mercy Gate is actually recognized as a leading agency in our region in the fight against trafficking. Some of our efforts have actually resulted in the implementation of the Kirk County Care Coordination Team with the Child Sex Trafficking Team through the Office of the Governor. I personally serve as a council member for the Human Trafficking Survivor Leader Councilship for the Office of the Governor, and I also do a lot of consultant work with Homeland Security. We are also on the coordinating council for the Texas Human Trafficking Prevention Task Force and active members of the Stop Trafficking Task Force initiative. We recognize the gaps in services for women that are 18 years and older in Kirk County and the other surrounding rural counties. Mercy Gate is actually the only nonprofit in the area to serve these women specifically for sexual trauma. We are available to continue conversations and answer any questions you guys might have. We appreciate your time and consideration for this grant. Thank you.
I appreciate your courage, and I admire you for that. I think I've told you that before. You didn't seem entirely comfortable with what you just did, and every challenge that I've seen you come up against, you just keep plowing away, and you have kept your eye on the prize, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Just want to help others that have been through the same thing I have.
Well, let me begin by making the motion to approve the resolution. I've been working with Mercy Gate now for several years. It was an incredible ministry. And the fact that they want to partner with the county and join us in trying to fight trafficking in this community, I consider it to be a rare privilege and an honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll second that motion.
So we've got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. We're with you all the way, Carl.
Thank you,
Any
guys.
We do have a timed item that we need to take, and that's 9:15 item, which is item 1.7. We'll come back to 1.6. I apologize. 1.7 is the annual update from the Kerr Economic Development Corporation. Gil Salinas. This is our local movie star.
Yeah, and on paper too. Morning, County Judge, members of the Commission. My name is Gilberto Salinas with the Kerr Economic Development Corporation. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of an end-of-year presentation and moving into 2022. Typically I would do it in December, but I had a little accident which required some surgery, hence here we are today.
Gil, why don't you explain what the accident was? No, you don't have to.
I'll just briefly say, no, I tore my ACL doing some stunt work. So.
And what stunt work was that?
Yeah, it was a high fall. High falls, basically jumping off a building.
For what TV show?
This one was for 1883.
There you go.
Yeah. However, obviously I didn't make it because I got injured in the training to get into the show. But I'm back. And I'm able to work boots now, so I'm excited. But
Some people have a shorter career in show business.
yeah, you know.
It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah. So it's interesting because my wife now is kind of like, and I've been doing some stunts for a while. She's kind of like, just stick to acting. Don't be doing the stunt work. I'm like, ouch. Okay, but okay. So I'll do some of the go through some of our deliverables for the year. I'm going to divide it into some of the different divisions within the EDC. Then I'll turn it over to Teresa, who will cover the second half of the presentation. I'll start with the public relations and social media. We issued 7 press releases at the state and national level. That's in addition to the ones that we did locally. We got some very good traction out of some of the announcements, specifically the Gulf Avionics and RBR Aviation last year. The Kerr Edge Entrepreneur Center, some of the awards that we got through the IEDC and the SEDC, as well as the Business Innovation Forum. From that, we had 39 pieces of coverage at the national level again. A lot of those were like in trade magazines, like Industry Now, Aviation, Avionics magazines, international ones. And then we had, from that, an estimated 169,000 coverage views from those different publications. We did 450 posts on different platforms from social media that we have through the organization. And then we had 88,000 interactions from social media from that. So all in all, once you add that up and put it through the advertising and marketing formula, we had about 49 million online impressions and readership from all the activity that we had on the PR side as well as our social media. Now on corporate recruitment, and I like to say that this is where the rubber meets the pavement, this is the core of what we do. And I will say that it was a little hard to follow last year's end of year presentation because last year we had the Kyoto manufacturing announcement. However, the success of that project has really opened the door for us for the activity that we're seeing today. And it opened the doors for the Gulf Avionics and the RBR to come into our community. And I truly believe, and I've seen it happen, where a project like this is going to be like the gift of giving. It's just going to continue giving to our community in many different ways. On the recruitment, we had a total of 40 leads that were generated internally, and that's from staff, from the website, and from walk-ins. We had 54 that came in from the Office of the Governor, their Economic Development Division. We had 31 site selectors and consultants. They called our office as well. There was a lot of them. That's the most that we've had in our office since I've been here. And then from that, we had 7 actual prospects that we hosted. 2 of those were in manufacturing, 2 in aviation, avionics, 1 in the entertainment sector, and 2 were hotel projects. Now the hotel and the entertainment project, we hand those over to the city if they're within the city limits because they take the lead. However, we're in a support role for those projects. And then from that, we had 2 closed deals, and there's a third that's still pending. And those 2 were Gulf Avionics and RBR. Those are 50 jobs that are being created over the next 5 years at about $70,000 per job. The economic impact of that project is about $30 million over the next 10 years. Now on incentives and importing money, there was $0 in incentives that were paid to these projects that we worked on last year, which is pretty good. And that's kind of what we're seeing as far as economic development. I was transitioning from being incentives heavy to more having a quality of place, which Kerrville most definitely has. Hence, you use less incentives to recruit projects. Yeah, on the importing money side, last week, the Texas Workforce Commissioner Brian Daniel was in town, and part of his community tour was to make an announcement that Ingram ISD, that was for $188,000. That was a JET grant. Commissioner Don Harris, you were there for that. So again, that's a program that we worked with the school district to see if they could qualify for that, and that's jobs, education, and training, and it's specifically for the developing their talent, their kids that perhaps are not going to go to university, but want to get some kind of a certification. So it's going to be for that particular workforce, and 9 times out of 10, these are the individuals that are going to stay in our community. And then we also had $115,000 that came in through workforce funds to All Plastics Manufacturing last year, and All Plastics continues to hire. They're hiring a lot of people right now, and again, that was a program that came through our office as well. And then in addition to that, our organization got a $32,800 PPP forgivable loan. So that was 3 cases of where we imported money into the community. We do have pending programs as far as the state funding for Gulf Avionics. I know we're working something for James Avery, and then for Project Water Vipers, which is a new project that we're working on, trying to see if we can secure some external funding for them. With that, I will turn it over to Teresa, and then we'll be available to answer any questions you all might have.
Thank you. Ms. Metcalf.
Thank you, Judge and County Commissioners. It's wonderful to be here. I will keep this brief so that we can stay within your time constraints. I know you have a full agenda. So just expanding on what Gil has already covered, under our business and retention expansion efforts, during 2021, we were able to interact with 134 local industry and companies through a variety of our business retention efforts. Those include both our quarterly roundtable sessions, which we just completed last week, one of those, as well as individual one-on-one meetings held in a variety of different ways, whether they were virtually or in person. We were able to help 4 local companies with state funding. Some of that Gil already covered, specifically with those Texas Workforce Commission grants, which is highly impactful, not for the companies that they provide that for, but in our efforts to retain some of our young professionals within the community. So we hosted 3 industry roundtable meetings. To highlight some of those, we worked with IEDC. Jeff Finkel, who was the president of IEDC, participated in one of those, as well as David Elcock, who is a partner for Austin Brooklyn. And so we did partnership with him, bringing together Ingram ISD as well as our other workforce components to talk about cybersecurity and opportunities for our young professionals for a career path in that industry. We also issued 2 white papers on economic development. Most recently, that was addressing workforce. That white paper is available on our website if you'd like to reference that and read it. We also issued one on placemaking and economic development that focused a little bit on quality of life and its impact on economic development and recruitment, as well as retention efforts in the community. From our industry and roundtables, we developed 2 webinars to summarize some of that information and push that out both via local media, our local social media, as well as our YouTube channel. So if you have the opportunity, most of what we do, developing webinars as well as our economic dialogue podcast, is available on our YouTube channel. We also, in spring of 2021, launched the Kerr Edge Entrepreneur Center. We are working with local education institutions as well as some industry partners to further develop Career Edge. So there'll be some upcoming announcements regarding that within the next few months. We did host 7 podcasts with Economic Dialogue. Some of those people that were featured in those podcasts were our local ACOG representatives, Hallmark University, Schreiner University, as well as one of our leading industry partners, Katie Milton Jordan, who's been just a huge help to us with the Entrepreneur Center. To kind of recap all of that, we did receive 4 International Economic Development Council Excellence Awards. We received 4 awards in 2020. We received another 4 awards in 2021. And most of those had to do with our business retention efforts. We received 1 gold award this year, and that was for the Career Edge website. We're really excited to be acknowledged and receive that recognition. We also received 4 awards from the Southern Economic Development Council. Those were communications awards, and they were based primarily on our branding and our marketing efforts, not just for the corporation, but also for our community. And to wrap it up, looking forward into 2022, we will continue to host our quarterly roundtables. Again, we hosted our first one last week with Chairman Daniel from Texas Workforce Commission. We will be sending out some information on our biannual stakeholder retreat. And we look forward to hosting in May Joe Magruder, who is the Texas Director of Aviation, Aerospace, and Space for the Office of the Governor. In conjunction with that, we have plans to work with all of our local ISDs to host a workforce signing event. So similar to what you see with sports, with athletes that will sign to specific colleges or universities, we would like to do that with our workforce. So make sure that we are, again, solidifying those partnerships with our industries and keeping our young talent in the community. We have in February, beginning of February, we have our 3rd submissions for our Top 40 program. This year we are looking at acknowledging and focusing on those in our service industry, and that's again across hospitality, our local police force, fire departments, teachers, so anybody that has really gone above and beyond within their service to their community. And again, in November, we plan to host our 2nd annual Business and Innovation Forum. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just in closing, the Texas Workforce Commissioner, again, Brian Daniel, was in town last week. Some of you all had the opportunity to meet him, and he was very impressed with what he's seen in Kerrville thus far. And I know he told me, this place is just prime as far as things that are happening. Then he told me, but your job is to make sure that you control that growth because you don't want it to get engulfed. And I'm like, absolutely. And that was crystal clear from the beginning for my leadership, my different stakeholder groups, to make sure that we maintain that fabric that makes Kerrville. Happy to answer any questions.
Any discussion?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to go back to one point that you or Teresa said about helping local businesses that are already here. That goes back to when I first became the commissioner at that time. L.D. Brinkman was still alive, and one of the things he told me, those that knew him, when he told me something, he usually remembered it. And it was that economic development is great, but make sure you're looking after those businesses that are here and helping them, not just trying to bring in new ones. And I appreciate the fact that you all are following up on that and helping our local businesses and helping coordinate with the state ways to get the funds in to help them. That's it.
Thank you.
Anything else from the court?
You mentioned the white paper and the website. While you were talking, I looked for it. And so people need to know what the website is because I was taken to the Kentucky Education Department. So please state that for the record, the name of the website.
Yeah, KurtEDC.com.
Thank you.
Very good.
All right.
We appreciate you coming. Appreciate you briefing.
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work.
Judge, Commissioners, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item we have is also a timed item. It's a 9:30 timed item, and I apologize for running late. You've seen how it's gone this morning. I think it's going to get slower as we go on. And that's item 1.10. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on a request to clean up property located at Storage Lane East in Center Point. Mr. Greg Muslim.
Good morning, I'm Greg Muslim. Was in here a couple of months ago on this topic. I have one point I'd like to make, and I think I mentioned it briefly the last time I was here, but I was driving past there the other day. And I thought this is very pertinent. I thought I would certainly want to address the court with this. There was a little girl. She was being watched by her mother, but she was on a bicycle with training wheels. Now, we all know about the age of children when they have bicycles with training wheels. 4, maybe 5. Now, this is where she plays every day. She rides past this place, and this is the very location where one of the officers mentioned when I was in here last time, they had found needles and paraphernalia right there in the yard next to where these kids play. She's not the only one. There's several children that live on that street, and it's my opinion that we are totally dropping the ball and not getting this cleaned up in a timely manner. I feel that we owe this girl a little bit better than that. We owe all the children that live on that street a better shake than that. I think that we need to get this done and get it done quick. If that one fact isn't motivation enough to get this done promptly, I can't imagine what possibly would. That's a terrible thing for that little girl. That's about all I have for today.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Muslim. I have Mr. Greg Carter, Jeffrey Carter.
How's everybody doing? I'm a little bit nervous. My name's Jeffrey Carter. I'm a veteran, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, U.S. Navy. I'm familiar with the property last few years. I lived on Mockingbird Lane in Center Point for a couple of years, and it was my brother-in-law's house. And the guy that was living at the property before is now in prison. Okay, he's I don't know exactly what happened, but he's not there anymore. And so I have been using this place as a storage for my tools and whatnot for a couple of years. And I used when I left Mockingbird, I had a P.O. box at the post office for a while, and that ran out, and so I used it 104 storage as my residence. And I don't live there, but I have a bunch of stuff there. I have a bunch of tools there that I had moved there. Jason told me I could move my stuff over there, and that's, come to find out that, he's kind of flaky. Okay, he's still a friend of mine, but he's not around, and he's done some things where the sheriffs had to come to the property a lot while he was there. The sheriffs have been to the property only twice since I've been there, since he's been gone. Okay, they came once to pick him up, and they were there quite a few times over the year that I was there with him, and for various reasons. Warrants or whatever was going on. We don't live, it's not, we're not sharing a place to live, but I was using his trailer, a little RV out there to put my tools in and work out there. Okay, I own a business in Kerrville, Cornerstone Services of Texas, and so and I know the owner personally. I'm not very good friends with him. We're not enemies or anything, but I don't have a friendly, we're not friends, but I have met him a few times, and I had given him some money for my stuff being there maybe a year ago or longer than that, but I haven't seen him in over a year probably now. So I don't know what's going on with the property. I know it needs to be cleaned up. It's a mess. Jason was telling me that he was in charge of managing the place, and I was telling him, I was like, well, we need to get this stuff out of here. If this place needs to, because the trailer, the single wide it's demolished. I mean, it's basically, the roof is gone, and it needs to be tore down. And I'm gonna take a little bit of responsibility because I've been over there the last couple of years, in and out, and I didn't understand what was going on with this process right here until just the other day. Fortunately, a friend of mine was burning some wire in the front yard, and the fire department came, the constable came, the sheriffs were out there, and so they explained to me, and then the environmental guy, Sean Gore, explained to me what was going on with the property, and he was having a problem getting the stuff cleaned up or whatever. I wasn't under the impression that it was I didn't know the status of the property. I just know Jason was there. Joe had been over there. I helped Joe clean the third lot that's next to the Dry Creek bed there a year and a half ago. And this property on the corner is basically dilapidated, but I'm using it as a storage place right now, and I'd hate for Joe to incur a large sum of money to do this abatement because it needs to be done, and I would like to start tearing the buildings down and I can take there's a couple of RVs there that can go away. I can get rid of that stuff. I mean, I can help to reduce the cost that it's gonna, the city's gonna have to put into it or whatever, or the county, I'm sorry. And basically I'm really here on Joe's behalf. Joe Braley is the owner or the taxpayer for the property. And I'd hate for him to incur a debt or lose the property over this negligence or whatever it is, because I feel like if there's something that I can do, I'd like to have an opportunity to do it. The sheriffs and the constable, I think the constable lives in the neighborhood, so I'm out there quite frequently. They can come by and say that I'm surprised that they hadn't come by and said anything to me about what is going on with it. The sheriffs did say, the place needed to be cleaned up, but that was back when Jason was doing his thing, and I just haven't had any motivation to do it because I didn't understand what the seriousness of this issue. Okay, and I heard the man say something about some needles in the yard or whatever. I've been living there for, off and on, 2 years. I come and go frequently. I mean, I'm coming to get tools, and then I come back to Kerrville, do a job, but then I come back and drop my tools off. I've never seen a needle out there. I've seen them over in the house where Jason used to stay. I've seen them in the walls. I've seen them, but I've never seen them outside in the yard. So I don't know. I'm sure it has been, and that is a problem. As far as the kids being endangered, I understand that. That's something that's got to be addressed. But I don't mind helping do that. I'd like to just be on the record saying that I'm willing to do something out there. And there's stuff that I can do. I have I've got a friend that has a skid steer. He's got a John Deere. He's got a tow truck and a dump truck. So, and as soon as I leave here, I'm going to talk to him about getting stuff pushed around and pulled out of there. And I've got a veteran friend of mine that's staying there. He's been there since Friday, and he's willing to help me do what needs to be done. He was there. He was the one who started the fire with the wire, and but fortunately that happened. So I became abreast of what's going on and found out about this meeting today, which like I said, I want to bear some of the responsibility.
I don't mean to interrupt,
Yes, sir.
To move on a little bit, I think the court appreciates you trying to help with this property, but I just ask that you coordinate with the sheriff's department and the constable, environmental health department to get that property cleaned up.
All right.
Anything you can do, I think
Yes, sir.
we appreciate it.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Have a good day.
Anything else on this tonight?
I would like to, I'm trying to remember where we left this last time. It was
You guys find out.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting, yeah.
This goes in a circle frequently.
Well, kind of where we left off last time, we were gonna get things figured out as far as how to proceed with an abatement. Because actually what was just said here was actually news to me. I did not know that anybody was looking at doing anything. Our issue is, number one, since I have been here, I've never actually dealt with a property where we didn't have a deceased owner or no family that could do anything. So it was pretty cut and dry on how to do the abatement. This one, there's a deceased owner, but I believe there's somebody paying taxes, which was referred to there. So we're still working with the county attorney's office at this time to make sure we're doing everything right. But the other issue with that is money. What we have in our budget is $8,000. I believe I was wrong last time about that, but there was some added money in there from what we've had previous years. So $8,000
For this kind of project?
for this kind of project for the whole year for everything we do,
Right.
the whole county. This one particular location, it's my understanding is going to be between $30,000 and $40,000 to clean up.
Yes, the quote I got was $18,000, almost 19, and county is responsible for the dump fees, which are estimated $15,000 to $18,000.
So that's where, now, if this gentleman that was just talking is unable to do anything out there and we do proceed with this, one of the only thing that I could think of, if there's not enough money is now, at that particular time, I believe we had the grant administrator in there, so I do want to explore possibilities with that to see if there's any kind of money out there that we could get to assist with this, but I don't know. That's something I was trying to wait till she got settled in, but I can do that here directly to see. It just all depends on, this was new, actually having somebody talking about doing something out there, so Deputy Gore's gonna get with him. He's gonna go back, because he was just speaking in the hall, he's gonna go back and watch this and see what all he just said, so we can maybe see what he can do.
I gather from the county attorney that to process this legally is gonna take a lot of time.
It will take some time, yes.
So
This is great news that somebody actually wants to
if
help.
we've got somebody who can help reduce this, we sure need to work.
Which
with
is what we try to start with. We don't ever want to do an abatement, you know, it's something we always try to get those responsible.
Well, if Mr. Carter can get started on that and put a dent in it, that's a step in the right direction. Let's see what
Well,
he
we'll
can
be
get
talking-
There's gonna be dump fees.
Yes.
How can the county help him with that?
That's something I might need to talk to her about, just to see as far as, if we're not doing a full-blown abatement, I'm not sure that we would be able to do that, but
So
I'll
you're saying there's only one way to do this?
Well, it's a step-by-step
So it's the
process.
usual way to do it, but is there only one way to do it?
Generally speaking, yes.
We have to follow the rules. And if there's a grant available on the other side of it, if the gentleman who was just speaking can't do it, then we have to go through the abatement process and hopefully help have some of those costs paid for by a grant. And if not, then a lien will have to be filed on the property and go that route.
And he mentioned a dry wash. Is there a stream there? Or a feeder
It
stream?
backs up to a drainage area that's being considered by TxDOT, frankly, to go all the way to the river.
Which might be helpful.
Well,
Protect the water.
maybe
Yes.
maybe
For a grant.
Yeah.
For a grant.
For a grant, yeah.
Yes, it does back up.
So that's where
the
we're
way I
at.
look at it.
It's a money thing.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, we're gonna, Sean, Deputy Gore and I will talk to the grant administrator to see exactly if there is anything, that was in my plans anyway, not just for this place, but possibly to help with future things, because we do have multiple properties.
Well, Reagan, can we ask you to coordinate and report back to us on your discussions with the county attorney, and we'll help put you in touch with Noah Putnam on any grant opportunities. And just so that, keep us in the loop so that we know how this is progressing and we don't drop the ball.
Absolutely.
So if you would, in a meeting or two, come back and kind of report to us, let us kind of know where we are.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure, do you want to say something? That'd be great.
I happen to be,
Identify yourself and where you live.
my name is Walter Kleckler, I live in Kerrville.
Okay.
I rent a unit immediately adjacent to the property you're talking about. Just to set the record very clear, because I'm there quite frequently. The place is a dump. It is not a dump that existed, it is a dump that continues to grow day in and day out. There is no water, no power, no drainage, no electricity in the building. People are living in it. That's all I have to say.
Anyone else will speak on this agenda item? Okay, then we'll move on. Let's try to get a couple things in before the morning break. Let's go back to 1.6, which is to consider, discuss, take appropriate action on the request from Parker, which is the Kerr Area Rural Fire Association, proposed Flat Rock Park to the public on Saturday, March the 19th, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. to conduct a water tender operations training. That comes.
Morning, Judge, morning, Commissioners. Have Brian Alexander here, the chief of CARFA, is also the chief of the Mount Home Volunteer Fire Department. But it's been 3 years. This is a project that training we've done. Teach comes in and does the training for us. We haven't done it since 2019, but we'd like to close the park at Flat Rock on March the 19th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. This is a training. I'll let Brian do a little bit more explaining on it, but all volunteer fire departments from CARFA are involved in this. So, Brian, if you want to explain to a little bit about the training.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. We actually need the 19th and 20th of March because we're going to do a Saturday, Sunday class. Basically what it is all the departments get together. We move a bunch of water to simulate not having a water source. So pretty much all we do is pump water out of the river, put it right back, type deal. Everybody brings all their piece of apparatus. We do a bunch of training on it. And pretty good course. We've done it twice now, and we're going to do it 3 times, hopefully.
And all the VFD participate?
Every one of them.
Great. I move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve closing Flat Rock Park to the public on March the 19th and 20th for classes on water tender operation training. For CARFA, all volunteer fire department.
And just to clarify, Brian, you only need the older part, you don't need the part that's on the east side of 3rd Street,
No.
correct? Just that one side?
Just one side. Yeah. Thank you.
Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Quickly, Reagan, got a couple. Where are you, Reagan? Trying to get this wrapped up. Let me go ahead and call 1.8, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to purchase office buildings for Kerr County Animal Services.
All right, so just a quick rundown on this. This was something that was budgeted into the capital outlay for this year, which actually came to $20,000 that was allotted for that. I have some quotes for what we need, which are actually they're actually good for 1 week each time. Building costs and materials is pretty high right now. The issue is that for what we need, just to get the building itself is going to be around $20,000. The quotes that I have are $20,111 and $22,339, which goes basically the same thing, just with a few upgraded things like the windows are upgraded and things like that. That's just for the building, which comes not finished out on the inside.
That's delivered?
Yes. So our other expenses would end up being to finish out the inside, which I had Shane with maintenance give me some costs on how to do all that. He said that maintenance can largely do all of those things, with exception being the electric. We'll have to have electricity to the building, and then since they're not licensed electricians, they would have to have someone come in to do that. So I don't really have a price on that, but we assumed that it would be, to get that, he gave me a number actually earlier for what it was a couple of years ago. It just depends on whether you go underground or do a drop down. Probably a couple of $1,000s there. But his price that he got, and it was very specific for the building materials. After I reviewed with him the dimensions of the building, what all we needed was right around $1,700 for those materials. Then you're also looking at needing to heat and cool the building, which we looked at the mini split AC and heat pump, which you're looking at basically about $2,400 to $2,500 is the cheapest. That's for a 1-ton unit with 3 blowers, I guess you could call them. Which you can't really do it much different than that. I think the offices really do need to be separate. You know, we have conversations and things of that nature where it's just too loud, you know, on the phone and things. So there really needs to be separate offices, and we really try to maximize the space here, but this is pretty much the smallest building we can go to get the room that we adequately need.
How close will this be to the existing building?
So it'll be, if you're looking at the front of the building to the left-hand side of the parking lot, it would be in the back there, kind of near the back fence.
So you're going to exit one building, walk to the other?
Yes.
Without any covered anything, right?
Yes.
They're not attached?
Yes. So this building really is just to get the 3 employees, myself, the 2 deputies out of those offices down here, get us all in one spot. It really just comes down to how much, you know, you guys think we need to spend on this. I know that we have the bond issue coming up, and we just don't know how that will be, but there is an option in order to finish some of this out. I did have $27,000 around that in capital outlay that was allotted for watch guard camera systems. I absolutely, as soon as possible, have got to have 3 of those. Law enforcement has got to have those. There's 2 other ones that are needed, but we can make do for until October or November with the body cameras that they currently have there. That would save about $10,000 if we wanted to allot that money that was for those 2 units to go towards finishing out this building.
Ray, ballpark, what are we looking at total?
Probably around 30,000, somewhere in that 30, 31. It really
About 10 grand over what we looked at about 8 months ago. 10 months
that's
ago.
assuming we just
I know,
didn't.
material cost.
The
everything,
material cost.
inflation,
What is the
everything went up.
electrician? What is that going to
I
cost?
would guess it's gonna be close. I'd say, you know, for this 35 is a good number to figure, because it's gonna cost, something's gonna cost more than.
Well, that's the other thing. I've never
Yeah.
done this before, so there's probably some fees in there too that I'm not thinking of. So that's what I came here with this for, is just to see what you guys want.
I think, my opinion, is something we've talked about for 2 years, we need to do it. Assuming the bond issue passes next November, we're still looking at probably 2 to 3 years that we're gonna be out there. And it is, in my opinion, very important to have Reagan and the other deputies out there so that for evening man. I think it's very difficult to manage a facility 5 miles away.
Now, as far as getting it wired with computers and all that sort of stuff, that's all figured into your pricing here?
Yeah, so I talked to Bruce about that with Shane of maintenance, and basically when the electrician comes in, they'll do the internet drop-ins and things of that nature inside the building itself. As far as the other things, getting the actual internet to the building and things like that, I mean, that's all going to be, yeah, I mean, there will be a little bit of a cost there, but Bruce said that it's not extremely expensive to, I know that's vague, but it's not horribly expensive to get for the cable and things
But
like that.
it goes back to what Commissioner Lett said, and there are invariably things we forget about
Yes.
that cost more.
Yes, sir. Especially with
the price.
I'm not used to that.
So how much of this money do you have right now?
20,000.
Okay.
And that
So
will.
we need about another 15 at least. And if we come in at, 12,000 more or whatever.
Well, the other thing too, I think that to consider here as well, this building, I think that it could have a decent resale value at the end of this, because it's going to be finished out on the inside. Somebody in theory could buy it as a cabin or something like that.
Or we may need it somewhere else.
Amen. Yes, sir. The other thing to consider too, this price on this building is going to fluctuate a bit, because I don't know how much has gone up in 2 weeks, but these quotes are good for 1 week, and I got it. I've had it for 2 weeks.
I know. I went out and priced it, you remember 6, 8, 10 months ago.
And I don't think it's going to go up a whole lot in a couple of periods.
Still, they're shooting up.
Yeah.
To me, the question is, do we look to the auditor to find $15,000, or do we defer 2 cameras for animal control that they need, until next year, use part of that money and look for the auditor for less?
I'd like the auditor to look first.
I would too, because those cameras are needed.
Yeah.
We need the cameras.
Yeah.
The only reason I suggested 2 is because,
To me, that's non-negotiable. They need the cameras.
Well, in my opinion, I think we need to quit wringing our hands and gnashing teeth here. This has got to be done.
Yeah.
Palpable.
Anybody that knows what's going on in animal services, this has to be done.
Yes.
yes, sir.
If y'all could go ahead and do the budget amendment right now by saying that the additional 15,000 would be coming from the contingency funds. And we can go ahead and get it done all in this sweep, and I won't have to bring it back to you. That frees him up to do it right now.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Those in favor say aye. Raise your hand. Unanimous. Let's go to the other room, which is 1.9. I want to try to get you out.
Okay, yes, sir.
Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to rescind the court order number 39014 and approve new leases with Enterprise Fleet Management for 2022 Ford F-150 trucks for the environmental health animal services.
This one's a little more simple, but basically what happened here, 2 new Ford F-150s were ordered. The order was canceled because they just simply could not get them.
We're familiar with the situation.
Yes, sir. The individual I've been working with was able to find 2 others that I believe are already built somewhere. The price change went from $711.06 per month on one to $724.96. And the other one was $703.13, is now $716.82. So there's a slight difference, which I believe works out to about $27.59 a month. Which is about another $330 a year.
I think we can find that.
I move for approval.
I got a motion and a second to approve the leases on the 2 new F-150 trucks for environmental health. Any discussion?
Judge.
Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Okay, with that,
Judge, just one, those will have new quotes to sign. I don't know if you need to.
okay, no, and approve me to sign the quotes.
It's in there.
Okay. So with that, let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll come back. We still have a lot to go today. We'll come back to order. Before we start our 10 o'clock docket, which is 20 minutes late already, and we'll have to come back and pick up the items that were on the docket before the 10 o'clock docket afterwards. But I want to clarify that the rules of procedure, conduct, and decorum for County Commissioners Court meetings requires that only 6 people speak on a topic, and the time be limited to 30 minutes. This court has been very lenient in the past and allowed everybody to talk for as long as they wanted to, sort of. Maybe not as long as they completely wanted to, but a pretty long time. This is the Commissioners Court. We are responsible for the local government of the county, and we have to meet at these regular meetings and conduct business. And we can't just have these mass gatherings for people to express their opinions about things. We want to listen to you. We want to hear your input. This particular group, I think this is the 4th public meeting we've had. We've had plenty of opportunity to listen to you, and I'm sure you're going to make some salient points today. But I just want everybody to know that 6 will be allowed to talk. But the rules say the first 6, or you can designate your 6. That is up to you and your leadership of your group. So y'all figure that out. We're running a little bit behind. I want you to know that you're just a timed item at 10:45. And we can only take 30 minutes on it, so that's what we'll be looking at. And the way we get to the timed item is as soon as we finish an item that's going on at 10:45, we stop at the end of that item, go to the 10:45, and we'll take your 30 minutes worth of input at that time. Now, that input is after we have a motion and a second on the floor. I know there's a lot of complaints there was no second last time. If there's no second, there'll be no discussion, and we'll move on to the next topic, the next agenda item. So does everybody understand how we're going to handle it? Okay? So,
Judge, on timing, we have a lot of 10 o'clock items and 2 10:30 items. Are your plan to go through all of those and then hit the 10:45?
every time item has to go next. So we've got all of these 10 o'clock items that you see on the agenda, and then there's a 10:30 item, and as soon as the 10:30 item is finished, we'll go directly to the 10:45 item. Okay, so if anybody wants to take a break, come back later, you're welcome to. We're here for you all morning, probably into the afternoon. So with that, let me go ahead and call the first 10 o'clock item, which is item 1.15. Consider, discuss, and take the appropriate action on a contract addendum modification request for Texas Department of Agriculture, Texas Community Development Block Grant Projects. Troy Hastings.
Thank you, Judge. The Texas Department of Agriculture contracts that we have for the wastewater service connections for the sewer project at Centerpoint are set to expire this April 22nd, 2022. The county is requesting the TDA grant an additional year to complete construction on this project. The 3 attached A1101 forms that are in your packets and supporting documents details challenges faced by the county and contractors since the time of the last extension request. The request seeks to better align the TDA construction with the Texas Water Development Board construction timeline, as the TDA progress is completely dependent on the Texas Water Development Board project and progress. There is a letter in your packet that we're asking be printed on county letterhead and sent to the Texas Department of Agriculture, and I will read that letter to you. It says, "Dear Ms. Lido, Kirk County is dedicated to meeting performance expectations for the executed contract with the Texas Department of Agriculture. However, there have been unprecedented circumstances beyond the county's control resulting in delays on the previously revised schedule. The county is requesting a state contract extension request for 1 year from the current end date of April 22nd, 2022 to April 22nd, 2023. Please see below for a narrative of efforts taken to achieve the previously approved extension request, an explanation of why the timeline is behind and the challenges faced by our community. We have also included a general timeline toward completion if the county is granted the extension. The challenges that we faced, we have it titled here, COVID-19 pandemic and the Texas winter storm of February 2021. And this is how that affected that project. The county, along with most other localities across Texas, has experienced hardship during the COVID-19 pandemic due to various stages of stay-at-home orders throughout the past year,
plus hour and staff reductions that led to increased workloads. Under these challenging circumstances, county staff were tasked with managing COVID-19 relief efforts, which took priority, especially early in the pandemic, from March 2020 through the fall, winter of 2020. Reduced staff, health risk, uncertainty, reduced hours, remote working, social distancing, and staff out sick, home with sick family, or home with young children all coalesced into a substantially impacted ability to conduct business as usual. That's not just for county workers, that was for state workers, that was for contractors, it was across the board. It extended everything. It just made everything last longer. We couldn't get the project bid. And then when we finally got permission from the state to bid the project, it took a long time to get approval to award the contract from the state. We all remember that from a year ago. And so the Texas Water Development Board contract, which builds the sewer mains and the sewer pump stations, has to be done to a certain level before the separate contract we have from the Texas Department of Agriculture, because that's just connecting to those mains. That's why we're here. That's why we're having this discussion. I'll continue with the letter. Yet another challenge on the heels of the pandemic was the devastating and unprecedented storm from the state of Texas experienced, that the state of Texas experienced in 2021. Yes, sir.
We've read the letter. Obviously, we're under a lot of pressure today to do a lot of things. We're very much aware of the need. And in reading this letter, is this a letter that you propose to sign, or you're asking me on behalf of the court?
Asking for the court to authorize the judge to sign it on behalf of the county and to send this along with the forms, the A1101 forms. There's 3 of them because there's 3 TDA projects, and all the supporting documentation. We've given it to Jody. She has it. We'd like for the court to authorize the judge to sign it so it can be sent and request a 1-year extension.
Well, since I'm going to sign it, if that's the case, I'm very much familiar with all these underlying facts, as you all know.
Yes.
I've read the letter. It's been very well prepared. I'm 110% behind it. And so I'll look to my court. Is this something that we can expedite and go ahead and do?
I'll make a motion to approve the letter and authorize the county judge to sign it along with all other supporting information.
We've got a motion and a second to approve sending the letter and executing the forms to extend this for a year. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Judge. Moving on to item 1.16, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize the county clerk to advertise for bids for the 2022 road reconstruction projects.
Thank you, Judge. The 2022 road reconstruction project consists of portions of both Ranchero Road and Shepherd Reese Road that were damaged in disaster recovery 4586 Winter Storm Uri, as well as portions of Shepherd Reese Road that were not damaged in Winter Storm Uri, but make sense to have fixed as part of this project while keeping the quantities separate for reimbursement purposes. Since Kirk County is seeking FEMA reimbursement for storm-related expenses, the construction contract and plans are phased to keep storm-related expenses separate from routine maintenance. So we're not going to get those mixed up. Although 2.6 miles of Ranchero Road from Highway 16 to Calcutt Road was damaged in Winter Storm Uri, the worst damage was in the first 1.3 miles. That was from Highway 16 to Fawn Valley, and was therefore reconstructed in the fall of 2021. We got that done right before Thanksgiving, y'all will recall. And FEMA reimbursement has already been submitted. This project is known as Ranchero Road Reconstruction Project Phase 1. That project's complete, it's done. The remaining 1.3 mile of Ranchero Road from Fawn Valley to Calcutt is known as Phase 2. That's what we're talking about today. And is included in this reconstruction project. Approximately, in addition to this, approximately 0.8 miles of Shepherd Reese Road from Horizon Boulevard east towards the Kerrville city limits are included in this project. 0.33 miles of that distance was damaged from the storm, while the remaining 0.49 miles was not, but will be included in the reconstructive efforts as routine maintenance. I have a schedule for you. We'd like to advertise this Wednesday, January 26, 2022, as well as February the 2nd, 2022. We'd like to have a pre-bid conference on 2 p.m. on January 31st, 2022. That'd be at the Road and Bridge office. Bids would be due that Friday at 2 p.m., February 11th, 2022. The following Friday after the 31st, about 2 weeks later. And we would do a bid opening and award at 10 a.m. on February the 14th, 2022. County engineer requests the court authorize the county clerk to advertise for bids the 2022 road reconstruction project, precincts 1 and 2.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the advertisement for bids for the 2022 road reconstruction projects. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Let's move on to item 1.17, which is a public hearing. I'm going to convene a public hearing at this time for the revision of plat for Northwest Hills Lot 35 and 38. Is there anyone here who would like to address the court in this public meeting? There being none, we will adjourn and move on to item 1.18, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve the revision of plat for Northwest Hills Lot 35 and 38. Charlie Hastings.
This proposal adjusts the lot line between lot 35, currently 3.43 acres, and lot 38, currently 1.25 acres, and dedicates 10 feet of right-of-way on Stephen F. Austin Drive at the cul-de-sac. We do maintain that road. Lot 35 will become 35A with 2.09 acres, and lot 38 will become 38A with 2.56 acres. Frontage for both lots will remain on Stephen F. Austin Drive. It is in Kerrville's ETJ. It has been platted through both the city and the Kerrville at the same time. The city Kerrville has already signed that plat, and I have signed the Mylar copies that are now with the clerk's office. County engineer requests the court approve a revision of plat for Northwest Hills, lot 35 and 38, volume 5, page 30, and volume 6, page 357, precinct 1.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the revision of plat for Northwest Hills lots 35 and 38. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item 1.19. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to approve a revision of plat for the Center Point Estates, Unit 2, Lot 247.
This proposal revises lot 247 into 2 lots. As proposed, lot 247A will be 5.1 acres and lot 247B will be 10.74 acres. Access to both lots will be from Center Point Drive. A public hearing for this proposal was conducted on December 13th, 2021. Just wasn't ready to be brought back as a final at that time. It is ready now. County engineer requests the court approve a revision of plat for Center Point Estates, Unit 2, Lot 247, Volume 3, page 103, Precinct 2.
I move to approve.
Second. A motion and a second to approve the revision of plat for Center Point Estates, Unit 2, Lot 247. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Moving on, item 1.20, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action for the court to set a public hearing for 10 a.m. on February the 28th of 2022 for a revision of plat for Hidden Springs Phase 1, lots 20 and 21. Charlie Hastings.
This proposal combines lot 20, currently 5.4 acres, and lot 21, currently 5.29 acres, into lot 20A, 10.69 acres. It's getting a lot bigger. Road frontage will remain on Inspiration Loop and Flocks Trail. County engineer requests the court set a public hearing for 10 a.m. on February 28, 2022 for a revision of plat for Hidden Springs Phase 1, lots 20 and 21, plat file 18-03295, precinct 3.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve setting a public hearing for 10 a.m. on February the 28th, 2022 for a revision of plat for Hidden Hill Springs Phase 1, lots 20 and 21. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. The last 10 o'clock item that we have is item 1.21. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to authorize the auditor's office to pay invoices related to the East Kerr County Center Point wastewater project while waiting for reimbursement from the Texas Water Development Board to prevent delinquent payments to the contractor.
Let me explain a little bit about what this is about. Our contract with the contractor requires that we pay within 10 days. It takes, and the process is they submit the invoice to us, Charlie goes through them, or Don Berger or consultant goes through them, Charlie goes through them, auditor goes through them, Matt goes through them, I go through them, then they go to grant work, and we go to the Water Development Board, and then finally the money gets, which is escrowed already, gets released. That takes anywhere from 30 to 90 days to get done. And our contractor has twice now, I use the word threatened, but I don't blame him, so it's not a negative towards him, of shutting down the project because he can't carry several $1 million along the way. I talked to the office of the executive administrator of the Texas Water Development Board and said, one, this last log jam I got unclogged within a week, but that's not the way we need to be doing business. I asked how other entities do this, and the answer was many pay it out of their general fund and then to reimburse themselves. There is risk there, and the auditor has been very, in the past, not been real in favor of that. Though I think that we have received the funds. I mean, sometimes we have to, additional information needs to be submitted and all that, but I think that we need to keep our contractor paid timely. I don't know, I don't know that it always has to be 10 days. I think he understands, the contractor understands that, there is reimbursement process and paperwork to go through. But I would like to give the auditor authority that when these things get drug out too long, she can make the payment. We'd have to come to court to do it, but that we can start this process a little bit different because it seems to be getting worse at the Water Development Board, largely because I think that they are still doing some remote work and things that with COVID they get out and in the quarantine and it's been delayed. So I just put it on the agenda so we can discuss it. I think it's a good thing to do. I think the risk is minimal to the county. The disbursement requests have been gone through at length by Don Berger and Charlie and myself and Beck and the auditor. So all that would still go through and grant work for that matter before any payment can be made.
How long does it take us to get reimbursed on average, would you say?
It's been up to 90 days, I'd say.
So my question is, and it's too late to do anything about it, I presume, but why in the world did we enter into a contract that required payment in 10 days in the first place?
I think that was oversight in that contract, and the contractor has been very, they have never come and said, we need payment in 10 days. They've been up to 30 days now, very easily.
So that's one lesson learned for the county.
Yeah.
You'll never do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
The second one is, if everybody concerned is bonded, then we shouldn't have a great deal of exposure or risk. So what would it be? What would the possibilities be? I'm asking the county auditor.
Yeah.
What's the risk?
It would just be making sure all the paperwork gets turned in and is approved by TWDB.
Which is what we're dealing with already. I concur. I think there's risk in not doing it. We push this contractor to the edges, and whether he's justified or not, I think that he is. For a delay and for him to pull people off of this and to delay this project in any other manner, I think it runs up the cost and runs up chances of other problems. So I concur with you. Go ahead.
And let me say, I monitored this thing as it unfolded. I don't know, and Mr. Blue, I don't know why we agreed to do that.
Yeah.
In this day and age, that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
But it's in the contract, and the contractor, as I think as everybody's pointed out, has been very lenient and cooperative with us. I mean, we're not faulting the contractor here. But by the same token, this is not the contractor's fault. It's not the county's fault. These are bonds. They have to be. These are grants, and they're approved by GrantWorks. GrantWorks has been timely. This is the funding agency here, the Texas Water Development Board, what have you. They're the ones where it's slowing down. It's bureaucracy. We're all familiar with it, and it's grown exceedingly slow, painfully slow for the contractor, and put us at jeopardy of having these contracts terminated. So I'm supportive of authorizing to do this. I evaluate the risk that we have to be de minimis, really. But at the same time, I would like to sit down and include in this a conversation with the contractor and start getting a little bit more realistic about, don't pull the pistol out and put it to our temple in 10 days, which he hasn't done. But I would like to see if we can't negotiate some sort of written modification of these payment terms to give us a little breathing room so that we don't have to. Our heart doesn't stop when we get the termination letter, because the first time I saw it, It's a Jody. What's going on? But seriously, it's kind of no harm, no foul, but it was a tense moment. And it's something that we all try to see if we can't mediate some sort of resolution of this, but have a safety net so that the auditor can make the payment with our approval. It has to come back through us. But I would like to work with the contractor to try to cut us a little bit more room.
We'll take the lead on that. You?
Happy to.
So if we could have, say, a 30-day agreement, if he can live with that. So what I'm trying to figure out is this. He doesn't want to lose this deal, obviously.
Sure.
He's making
And
money.
we don't want to fire him.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to fire him. But is he really up against the wall on this? He can't make payroll and continue.
This one, to tell you the truth, I don't know many contractors except maybe the big multinational, international companies that can survive
The
that.
first one was 90 days, the second one got shortened to 70 days. That's still
Yeah.
unrealistic for a
Millions
contractor
of
with
dollars.
this kind of money. It's just too much.
Yeah, I
I
understand.
mean, 30 days is reasonable.
That's.
Well, everybody knows that when you're dealing with the government, the pay is slow, but the check's always cash. So you enter into it, knowing that.
Well, and we got a better bid from this contractor because he wasn't one of the big majors.
Yeah.
So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah.
And all I'd like to do is sit down at the table, have a conversation. We can't do anything about it. That's the water development. All we can do is try to unblock jams when it happens. But get a little bit better gentleman's understanding and perhaps even some written understandings of how we can work together to avoid this type of crisis.
And the money's in an escrow account.
Sure. Always
So
there.
it's there.
So that's why I asked, what is the county at risk for? Unless there's some little detail in that contract that says that we get our fingers in the trap if we don't do it a certain way. That's the only thing I could.
The risk would be, as an example, there's steel requirements. If we purchase steel, it has to be U.S. made and it has to be certified. If that certification, if the contractor says, I'm not going to give you that certification, well, then we don't get the money. But, I mean, that's not what they're going to do.
Right.
And we get to review it on a case-by-case basis. When Ms. Shelton comes to us and says, Texas Water Development Board has not paid on time, it's getting critical, we need to do something, wants us to authorize her to go ahead and pay it out of our escrow account, or we actually pay it out of.
We pay that our general fund and then the escrow fund, will release the funds to us, then we put it back in our general fund.
But I would feel better if we had a little bit more flexible relationship with our contractor and ourselves, so that we don't have to deal with this type of ultimatum.
Sure, I agree. I don't know if it takes any action on this. Other
I
than,
think we still have final approval, so I don't think we need to take action today, but we are communicating to the county auditor that this is the approach we'd like to take, be more collaborative and try to get these payments to the contractor on time.
Okay.
and Charlie, I'm sure you can help the judge set up the proper people to talk to at
Yes.
their construction.
Yes, sir.
We'll do that.
And even though I know Mr. Letts and Commissioner Gibson are the ones that oversee the East Kirk County wastewater line, I'd like to sit down and visit with the contractor on this
Yes, sir.
as a representative of the entire court.
Okay.
I'll set that up.
Good.
Okay, we've got a couple of fairly quick 10:30 items if Jake's out there. Jake here? Try to knock these out.
He's out there.
He was outside.
He always is. Okay, Jake, we're gonna call your items. First one is item 1.24, which is the annual report from the Hill Country Youth Event Center, Global Spectrum LP.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for your time today.
Feel free to be a little expedited.
Absolutely, I understand. So we're just here to present the report you guys have in front of you, and I appreciate that and taking your time for review. As everybody knows, we manage the Hill Country Youth Event Center with y'all. It's a multi-purpose campus. We can do a lot of things out there, as most of the public would know. If you don't know, we can do a lot of things. So last year was a great year. We sold the naming rights to the Happy State Bank Expo Hall. That did kick in November of 2020. So that's some good revenue brought to the county for those naming rights. we came back from COVID with a lot of events, people wanted to meet again. We did 416 events, 165 of those were paid clients, ranging anywhere from a meeting to a festival. So in total, we're a rental facility, so we collect rent from these folks to come use the place. We brought in total with ancillaries, facility fees, and other income, a grand total of $53,673, plus the other income of $29,342, as you can see on the screen. With our operating expenses, which is staff, maintenance, all the things we do out there, our total loss for the year was $292,000, with a budget of $301,000 loss, which means we beat budget by a little over $9,000. So a decent year. We did good things, very good things, and we came in within the budgeted numbers. To break down the things out there, because we are an event center, we like to kind of dive into that a little bit and show all the things we do. What's on the screen now is our revenue by event type. As you can see, banquets are our highest source of revenue, compared next with consumer shows. Consumer shows include the gun show, the the Chamber of Commerce Business Expo.
So retail type stuff.
Retail type stuff, the Master Spa show, things like that. So somebody will pay to come in and shop, or it's free to the public, but they will be buying products. So that's a good source of our revenue. Followed by show barn events. That's what we've labeled everything that goes on in the show barn. So all the animal sales, the smaller stock shows that only take up one barn, things like that. So those are our top three revenue generating items, which falls right in line with the purpose of the event center, to promote the youth agricultural side of things, as well as provide space for people to meet, gather, and purchase products. So we're very excited that that's where we're at with those. Little other things like other conventions, we have dog agility, things like that out there as well. So some stuff that's needed, but isn't necessarily the sole use of the event center. So pretty exciting stuff.
Jake, while you're there and we have people watching on YouTube in a full courtroom, can you expand on some? I know you got different parties and private that people in this room might use. I mean, you have quinceañeras and you have other things that a lot of the locals plan their events.
A lot of local events. So besides the quinceañeras, banquets would include things like the Ducks Unlimited banquet, the James Avery holiday party in certain years.
He's saying to give a commercial.
Yeah, there you go.
I know.
You got the
put it on spot commercial. I'm trying to think of the top ones that'll bring me the most bang for the buck back here. Fundraisers such as they're under a different category, but the stock show fundraiser is bread and butter for us. The wild game dinner for 4-H, all things like that.
Well, I'm getting at somebody want to have a 50th wedding anniversary. They could call you and you have something.
Absolutely. Just if somebody's out there and wants to call, we're booked all the way through this year. I can get you in June of 2023.
Perfect.
So that's how far I
that next time.
So remember that. So we appreciate that.
I want to point something out, and I really want to ask you, as I look down there at attendance, the people that actually attend that Hill Country Event Center, most of it is community and charity. That's the vast majority of it. And that is the emergency management epicenter for the county.
We're getting there on the next one.
Okay.
There's some more slides.
Sure.
See that big green bar?
Yeah.
That's the community.
If you'd like to go to the next one. So moving on, so we like to compare things. We've been out there for over 6 years now. You can see from the end of our first year of operating, which means that was our final number from year one, we've shown 137% growth. So we've over doubled your revenue in those 5 years since out there, which means we've done that by increasing the event load. You know, being a rental rate place, the rental rates don't change all that much year to year, so it's all based on volume. So, you go to the next one. So you'll see from volume, might be a little hard to see, but that giant graph there in the middle, those are our charity and community events. Last year we raised our volume of community events by 30%, which was another increase from another 20% from the year before. So we've, in essence, doubled our amount of charity community events we've been putting on. Those are all events supported by the Kerr County Court, supported by the taxpayer to use that facility. Those things include district court that's been out there. When we do blood drives, sheriff's meetings, any county
Hazardous
department
waste
meeting,
and all that kind of
hazardous
stuff.
waste, all those things are included in there. That's a huge increase that we've been able to absorb due to a lot of that stuff being during the week. And that's really what's helped us out. But we have turned it into about a 7-day-a-week event center. So almost any day you're going to see cars out there. You're going to see somebody using that facility, which is what it was built for, and that's amazing stuff. We feel.
One point I want to bring, you know, those in the public that saw in the first slide that there's almost $300,000 loss on that facility. The reason there's a $300,000 loss is this number. That it is, they don't get paid for any time the county's out there using it. We use it a lot for all kinds of events.
Voting.
Yeah, voting's out there, everything. So they staff it, they operate it, but they're making zero money for those. That's why there is a large loss on that facility. And if you look at the big picture, it's a bargain for the taxpayers to be able to host that number of events of that type and, you know, and be able to do it at that facility. Thank you.
Yeah, and very good point. And that's what I want to always make sure is that it's known that that is why it operates at a deficit. And it's hard to say it's a good thing, but it is a good thing. It streamlines everything so that we can take care of the people that need to be taken care of. You had asked last month about a value to that. What we do for everything is we just record numbers. We're rental facilities, so we have rental rates. Non-profit organizations get a 50% discount. Therefore, simply if the county calls, anybody calls and wants to use a room, we just write down the cost of that room at 50% of the cost. And so in your packet, that's that number for last year, in the years before, the value of that.
I was gonna ask you, so I'm glad you remembered. There's one other thing, Jake. I was asked this last week if there are any other gaming opportunities at the...
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have currently the show barn, the indoor arena, and Riverstar Park that we're still actively looking for naming rights sponsors. A smaller portion of that would also be our classrooms. We have, with those meeting spaces, we'd love to name those and kind of help people get directed to that. So absolutely, there's opportunities.
Thank
you. Things to look forward to in the year coming. We finally have some groups that have been on hold. They're going to be using the place for the first time. And we're excited to welcome them to town. The Texas Fly Fishers group. They'll be coming in October. The Texas Wood Carvers Guild will finally get to use the facility after a couple of years of waiting to come here. We have a Model A convention coming in June. And we just had finished up last week the Grandstand Stock Show was a new group. So some very big groups coming to town, a lot of room nights, a lot of hotel stays, a lot of economic impact coming this year. So good year last year. This year's looking to be even better as long as things hold out, and with our diligence, we hope to maintain that. So that's was there one more slide there? That's it. So.
Okay, good report. Any discussion?
Well, this is a whole report on our website. There's a lot of information about that, so.
That's a good idea.
Or our new website.
Our new website
where people could find it.
Okay, Jake, let's move on to item 1.25, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to accept the audited financial statement for the years ending September 2021 and 2020 for the Hill Country Youth Event Center.
Before we go to that, Judge, part of our contract, we on 1.24, I make a motion that we accept the annual report.
Okay. We'll go back.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to accept that annual report. Any discussion about that? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Now we're 1.2, no, good. 1.25, this is your annual financial statement.
Would you like me to read the letter into the record, or
Just, you can summarize it.
summarize it? As part of our annual contract, we want to make sure that the county and us are protected, that we operate the facility in a fiscally responsible manner that falls within audited guidelines. We contract with a company every year to review our records, to make sure that we fall within those guidelines. And again, this year we were presented with a passing grade of those guidelines. And I'm trying to think of a good line to do. They encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with us in performing and completing the audit, and professional standards were in line with all auditing practices. And that'd be the statement from that.
Well, just so we have it in the record, and in the auditor's opinion, which is Massey Hitchner, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the Hill Country Youth Event Center managed by Global Spectrum LP as of September 30, 2021 and 2020, and the results of its operations and cash flows for the years that ended in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So that's good.
I move we accept the
Second.
audited financial statement.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the audited financials. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Very good. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you all.
Okay, that concludes our timed items. So we'll move on to item 1.28. It's past 10:45, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on the request to rescind court order number 38888, the American Rescue Plan Funding Agreement. Commissioner Harris.
Yes, sir. I put this on the agenda. We have several people that want to speak to this. So I'd like to get to it and hear from them.
Well, we got to have a motion and a second.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
That we
You
rescind.
make the motion?
Motion to rescind the order? Is that I'm trying to determine the nature.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll second it because I want to hear the people.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to rescind the order. Now it's time for discussion.
I have something here that I want to make sure is in the record. Right now, the state of Arizona is fighting with the federal. Is everybody aware of what's going on with the state of Arizona and the clawback from the federal government? Because if you're not, I'm going to tell you a little something about it. Both in bondbuyer.com and in the 2020, the 1/22/22 edition of the Wall Street Journal, Arizona is suing the U.S. to block the clawback of funds over school mask wearing policies. Treasury Department, which has not finalized the requirements for this money yet and won't until April 1st. Treasury Department said that it could move to recoup the pandemic funds if the state didn't redesign their program. So they're being dictated to the state of Arizona based on this, having accepted the money. The state's school mask policies is what's in question. Federal pandemic aid, which came from the ARPA funds, is what we call it. So it's important to know that this has already begun and that it's not going to happen with every county all at once that received the funds, every state that received the funds. This is the entire state of Arizona. This is not just Maricopa County or one of the big counties there, it's the whole state. So the idea that it wouldn't, I heard not long ago when we listened to explanations about how the funds could be used, and they kept referring to it as a grant, and I reminded the speaker that it's not a grant,
No,
it's called funds. With a grant, you apply for it, you might get it, and then it comes to you. With this, they sent us money and they said, we'll tell you what the strings are attached to it later. You guys just start spending it. Well, we didn't spend it, which was wise, and I commend the entire court for that. But now it's starting to happen. Now we're starting to see what's really going on. If somebody sends you something, it's not a grant. I think the mouse finds out why the cheese is free too late usually. So I really don't want us to go there, so I would like to see us just eliminate the temptation of it and send the darn money back.
Well, like I said, I want to kind of wrap things up later on. I'd like to hear from you.
Okay. Then, the 6 people that have been designated, the first one is Richard King.
He might be in the hallway. He was sitting here a minute ago.
Can you check on this, Sheriff?
Okay, we're gonna start with
Yeah. Just giving up his slot.
Bill Ferguson, I understand they switched. Bill Ferguson, is he?
Okay.
Right here. Okay, go ahead.
If you would please identify yourself and your address.
My name is Bill Ferguson, reside at 2919 Dry Hollow Drive, Kerrville.
Please proceed.
Okay. I would like to address the Commissioner, Judge Kelly, regarding the American Rescue Plan Act, specifically the funds received from the federal government. The funds received by the county, in my opinion, should not be kept. They come with attached strings, which many are opposed by citizens of Kerr County and elsewhere. By accepting the funds, Kerr County would be obligated to follow any directive from the government. The acceptance agreement is vague and essentially states that any proclamation from the government on a variety of issues must be followed. An exact quote from MARPA states, selected respondents, which would include Kerr County, also agrees to comply with all other applicable federal statutes, regulations, and executive orders. And selected respondents shall provide for such compliance by other parties in any agreements it enters into with other parties relating to the war. That pretty much covers anything the government wants you to do and follow. I'm aware of one instance in Kerrville where a large local church was sent unsolicited funds by the government for related COVID. After learning of some of the strings attached to the funds the church was against, they decided to return the money. The government charged them interest for that money for the time that they had possession of it, even though it was unsolicited. That's why I believe that these funds should not be accepted, because there's just too much potential for bad things to happen later on when things are agreed on. I'd also like to say that there were 23 people that wanted to speak here, but it was limited to 6, obviously. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Bill, what church was that, if you can say?
I don't know if I should say it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The next person on the list is John Sheffield.
Gentlemen of the court, Your Honor. My name is John Sheffield. I live at 204 Brady Park Boulevard. I own the Old England Grocery. What I have in front of me is a letter that was written by Ray Tier. Ray Tier is a close friend, and if I may, I'd like to read this into the minutes for the record. Judge Kelly and Commissioners, in being urged to reconsider accepting money from the federal government, you are not being asked to decide a matter which is legal versus illegal. The choice you are being asked to make is more basic. It is choosing between right and wrong. Is it right for Kerr County to accept money from a program that uses money which is created by the federal government simply out of thin air and a printing press? Except that a printing press is not even used anymore, but mere digital entries into computer systems, electronically creating federal debt that will burden our great-great-grandchildren and likely even their children. Is it right for Kerr County to pledge itself to abide by federal executive orders as the participation agreement requires, when this president's executive orders are being regularly overturned by the courts because he lacks the legal authority for those mandated actions. Is it right for Kirk County, at a time when federal overreach is adding burdens and crushing our citizens nationwide, to give that same federal government further hooks into the lives of Kirk County citizens and voters? Is it right for Kirk County to take the money just because other governmental units are confused about this issue of right and wrong and are participating in an immoral federal program? Are we willing to sell our honor so cheaply? In the days before this war for Texas independence, the citizens of Gonzales famously refused the overreach of Santa Anna when he wanted their cannon by telling him, "Come and take it." And Texas shortly became an independent republic. When the feds offer money in a program like this, it is time for some local governments to say, "We aren't going to take it." The Kirk County Commissioners Court can take the lead in restoring a functioning constitutional republic on this continent. Please just say no by rescinding your previous acceptance of this morally tainted money. Right here. On my part, if I may,
Yes, sir.
in the contract from the U.S. Department of Treasury Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund award terms and conditions, I specifically point out 9A. 9, compliance with applicable law and regulations. I will just jump to the second sentence if I may. Recipient also agrees to comply with all other acceptable federal statutes, regulations, and executive orders, and recipient shall provide for such compliance by other parties and any agreements it enters into with other parties excuse me, relating to this award. So we're going to be a watchdog for the federal government wherever the tentacles of the money goes. I think that might be the question in Arizona at this time. I'm not a legal expert. I'm not against us getting grants. I'm not against federal money coming in. And I understand statutes and regulations. But in this contract, it states we shall also abide or comply with applicable executive orders. You know, we have a project right now in East Kirk County, $63.7 million under EDAP, Economically Distressed Area Program. I dare say in that contract, I don't think it has an executive order in there. I may be wrong, Your Honor. Or I just haven't seen it that have that type language. And this is for $10,216,000. Am I correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. So I would ask that we rescind the order, send the money back, because we just don't know everything about what type of stipulations we're going to have to go by. But EO is absolutely no. Thank you for your time.
Next, Bethany Cuccio.
My name is Bethany Cuccio. I live right here in the city of Kerrville, and I represent We the People, Liberty in Action. I lead the local government group here. I'm the government, and I'm here to help. Famous quote, right? This is a defining moment for this court, for each of you. It really is. This government is the enemy of the people. We have seen that from day one. This government hates the American people and hates the Constitution of the American people. From the first day they declared war on everything we value and every freedom that we have, from the Biden regime. Since the last time that we stood here and spoke, the Supreme Court gave a ruling that stripped the medical autonomy and the medical freedom from 75,000 workers, and that was because of money. Any medical facility that gets Medicare and Medicaid, they don't get to be free. Case in point, money has strings. And we have questions right now. We're taking note, we're watching. Are you for the people? Are you a constitutionalist, each one of you? Are you really a conservative? You all run as conservatives because you're in a conservative county. Would be an idiot that wouldn't run as a conservative in a 70% conservative county. That's easy to say, but what do you do? Can you be bought with $10 million? Or are you bigger than that? This is a uniting issue. We have people from all different beliefs and walks of life that are united on this issue. And it is not the same 50 people that showed up here today. There's a lot of new faces in the 35 people upstairs. And for that many people to show up over and over and over, when we are known for licking our wounds and going home and being quiet, we're not being quiet on this one. We mean it. We don't want those executive orders in this county. We do not want our children in bondage to those executive orders. And we mean business. Because this is a threat to our families. This is a threat to our future. And this Biden regime that we're under is ushering in, let's just skip socialism and let's just skip right on over to communism. I'm not going to go through all the reasons not to get it. Obviously, Judge Kelly already said. We've already laid out hours, honestly, of testimony, laying out so many good reasons. Any one of them would be enough to send the money back. We don't need to do that. We just need to ask you, this is a defining moment for you. These executive orders make our blood run cold. We're starting to see some ones about, I think there was one about gun control. Literally, there's nothing he cannot come and do with a stroke of a pen. 2 of you are running unopposed, and we know that. But here in this room, we have somebody that stepped forward as a possible write-in candidate. So while you may feel very comfortable in your seats like you cannot possibly be taken out, it's not true. And I'm told that write-in candidates never win. But the crossing of the Delaware was impossible. David and Goliath is impossible. And the God that gave us our freedom, that the Constitution protects, we do not have constitutional freedoms. God gave us our freedoms. And that's the God I serve. And that's the God of David. That's the God of George Washington. This country should never have been, and all of us know that. It was impossible to go against England. So be careful thinking because you unopposed that that's even really true. Because I serve the God of the impossible. And that's the God of freedom. And so I would ask you to think very carefully about which side of this equation you're going to be on.
Scorched earth. There's that. Number 4, Cameron Carpenter. Scorched earth.
Thank you for your time today. My name is Cameron Carpenter, and I reside at 141 Crooked Creek Path, Mountain Home, Texas. Okay, today I'm keeping it short and simple. I'm not just standing against mandates, unjust laws, and orders. Today, I'm making a stand for Kerrville's future generations, freedoms, and our freedoms. So, with that being said, sorry, I can't read my own writing.
Just relax. Go ahead.
You're okay.
No, nobody
I'd like to
likes
say
it.
that if we accept these funds, we are, we are opening the door for government overreach, which is a slippery slope. We can really be bought that easily. Kerrville's integrity is at stake. I mean, there is much, so much, hidden, underlying print that I'm positive these funds are bad news. I speak for all of Kerrville when I say, send it back. We are not for sale. I rest my case. God bless America.
Good job.
Next is Terry Hall.
Good morning, I'm Terry Hall. I reside at 118 Independence Lane on purpose in Ingram, and I represent We the People, Liberty in Action. And there are 35 people upstairs along with many that are in the room here today, and so we're guessing it's about 50 people. Again, like Bethany mentioned, there's a lot of new faces, and we're engaging new people all the time on this issue, and this is a galvanizing issue for our county. It really is. And I wanted to thank Commissioner Harris for bringing this back up today. We appreciate that very much, for you being responsive to your constituents here in the county. And I also want to mention something. I know that Commissioner Ballou has TPPF, Texas Public Policy Foundation, on his show quite frequently. Rob Henneke, I've worked with them for years, and I was just up there in Austin last week at their policy forum, speaking with many of their folks about this very issue, because they were one of the first to come out saying that our local governments must send this money back, including the state. They actually are very, very strong about advocating that the state itself send the money back, as well as our local governments. And I was speaking with Rob Henneke's wife, and she's saying they're already starting audits on this fund, on these funds. And I also found out from another gentleman that was there, who is having to go through amazing hurdles, travel hurdles, to get to apparently the Bahamas for some insurance convention. And he revealed that if you test COVID positive while you're in the Bahamas, they are going to send people directly to Florida and kick them out of Bahamas and send them to Florida. Now, why do you think that is? We're seeing this, that they're already auditing. What states do you think they're going to audit first if you're the Biden administration? The red states. We're already seeing them punish the red states in every way possible, and that's why they're trying to, with our open border at the south, bring in all kinds of COVID positive folks. We're also seeing them fly them from other countries into red states. We also have a letter that Governor Abbott, you may not be aware of this, Governor Abbott warned state agencies, including TxDOT, about the federal infrastructure bill that just passed recently, and told them, you better beware before you take those funds and all the strings attached. Now, all of us love infrastructure. We want our roads built. We want them yesterday. There's a lot of issues with our infrastructure, there's no question. And so we know that we're clamoring for those federal funds. TxDOT's budget can't hardly work without federal funds. It's 40% federal funds. But even our governor is warning, we're not going to accept these funds if there's strings attached to that money that we're going to regret later. So in other words, we're seeing a lot of buyer's remorse out there right now, particularly with this administration being so vindictive against red states. Don't think that you're above consequences for the audits. And we feel, as citizens, we don't want to be bound any longer by the whims of the CDC, because that's exactly what we're seeing, back and forth, back and forth. Today, this is science. Yesterday, it's old news. It's like giving a blank check to have the CDC come into our county and have us follow every edict that comes down. And if we don't, imagine the auditing that will take place over on Peterson and other places that will have to receive some of these funds. So we need you to divest us and our county, our very conservative county, of any Biden administration strings attached to these funds. I think we're pretty unequivocal about that, and we're just asking you to please do the right thing and rescind this order. Thank you.
Barbara Ferguson.
I'm Barbara Ferguson. I live on Dry Hollow Drive here in Kerrville. And I've spoken to you gentlemen before on this issue. I also would like to see you vote today to rescind this order. There are a great many people that this would reach out and affect them. As the young lady stood up and spoke, I just thought about her and all the school-age children that are out there who suddenly, what happens to them day to day, what happens to their health into the future, based on some mandate that could come down, and suddenly we're vaccinating and required to vaccinate all our children in Kerrville. These decisions should be left in the hands of parents and their doctors, not required because of a decision that was made here today. We need to vote to send this back, and I'm praying that each of you will consider that carefully and do that today. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the 6th. Okay.
Judge, I have a couple of comments. I don't know if Commissioner.
Go ahead. I think everybody has comments today.
Yes. First, I've been quiet. I've listened to y'all and appreciate the input we've had. but I want to explain something to everyone in here, and it really Mr. Sheffield is one of them kind of touched very closest to it. On November 8th, the state of Texas legislature, and was signed by the governor, passed through the third special SB 8. I'm just going to read this. The first section is 18 pages long, so I'm not going to read 18 pages. But be enacted by the legislature of the state of Texas, Section 1, Comptroller of Public Accounts, Unemployment Compensation Fund, the amount of $7,245,419, $7,245,419,946 is appropriated to the Comptroller of Public Accounts from the money received by this state from the Corona State Fiscal Recovery Fund established under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 and deposited to the credit of the Coronavirus Relief Fund for use during the state fiscal year beginning September 1, 2021. That money has already been spent. This county is an arm of the state of Texas. Out of that, there is $16 billion that were total that were allocated under that legislation. It was signed, it was passed the Texas Senate unanimously. It passed the Texas House unanimously. It was supported by the Attorney General, the Lieutenant Governor, and then signed by the Governor finally. So there's nothing that this county can do, this Commission's Court can do, that's going to undo what the state did. This whole state is already obligated under American Rescue Plan. It's clear. Look, you can read SB 8. Now, second thing is, I don't know that, how many people here know what SAM is. Any of the businessmen, and Mr. Sheffield's nodded, he does know. SAM is a system for award management. Any governmental entity, private business, ranch, doesn't matter, that does any kind of financial business with the federal government has to get a SAM number. The compliance page, and this is online, you can look at it, number 6 under the compliance page, will comply with all applicable requirements of other federal laws, executive orders, regulations, and public policies governing financial assistance awards. If we are going to be, say that we're not going to accept and be subject to executive orders, we need to go back on our agenda today because we passed 7 items unanimously that are using SAMs. And that accepting that money requires us to follow executive orders. It's nothing different than in the American Rescue Plan. Not only do we have to go back to those 7, we'd have to go back as long as I've been a commissioner. We've had federal funds come into our budget every year, and that compliance language is in there. So while I share totally the sentiment of the current federal government, the Biden administration, the overreach, and all that, I couldn't agree more with everything that's being said here. But the financial side of it, of this money, is not impacted by that. We are already subject to executive orders. This county is. Mr. Sheffield mentioned the sewer project. This language is in the sewer project. It's the SAM distribution. Those are federal pass-through funds. And the compliance, to say in compliance with SAM money, which we get, annually, they go into the victim services, non-victim services fund. They go into our roads. It goes into our public defender office. It goes into the judicial side. I don't like it. I agree with you. But we're in bed with the federal government. And that's just the way, the nature of where we have come in the last couple hundred years. So sending the money back, other than maybe making a statement, it doesn't protect anybody, and it doesn't really do anything except cost the taxpayers additional funds, the local taxpayers. These are all tax dollars, obviously. And the fact that our government's, printing money like it's going that crazy, it's shameful. But it's being done. And a decision on not accepting this money is not going to change that. Yes, it might make a statement, it might get a little blurb somewhere. It's not going to change anything on how the federal government does that. I see the sheriff back there. A lot of his training comes through the FBI, Secret Service. If we cut this out, if we're going to take a hard line on this, just out of the way. You're not going to do any of that anymore. Broadband is funded under the ARPA plan. Cybersecurity funded under the ARPA plan. So I think everyone really needs to look at what we're you know, how the tentacles of the federal government, how far-reaching they are, and that by us sending this money back doesn't change a thing other than deprive this community of $10.2 million. That's all I'm saying.
Other comments?
Yes, we continue to mix apples and oranges here, and that is that we treat this like a grant, but it was sent to us and called funds.
It is.
It's funding, right? Funding, and it is tied to COVID. So I don't entirely agree. I agree in part with some of what you said, Commissioner Letts, but not entirely, because this is tied to COVID related. And
certain infrastructure.
And infrastructure. Infrastructure was the only thing, and that is because they figured out a way via government Mission Creek to call that COVID related. Because you got to drive an ambulance on the road to get to the hospital. That's how the government works. So they'll stretch it as far as they can. So here's what we have so far, just as a review. The Biden administration has attempted to use the CDC to extend mortgage moratoriums. That's one, that failed. Tried to use OSHA for vaccines for private employers. That has failed in part. And now he's going to use the Treasury to impose mask mandates for school children who don't even get sick with this virus. So the ship has sailed, y'all, and it's already obvious what's happening, how they're using it. You'd have to be kind of blind if you didn't want to see it, or just really, really, really want that money. I don't want that money that bad. So what department will be used next? And we don't even know at this point what the rules are going to be from Treasury. Will the Supreme Court knock this one down like the others? Will it be a partial takedown? Will they do a carve out like they did with the OSHA regulations? We don't know. And so we have money sitting there. If we ever do send it back and have to send back the interest along with it, that would cost taxpayers money. I mean, I feel like, you know, when you walk out of the convenience store and somebody walks around the corner and says, "You want to buy a watch?" I wasn't thinking about that a minute ago. And when they say, "Hey, you want $5 million in the bank account?" I wasn't thinking about that a minute ago, and it just sounds a little fishy. I just don't trust that kind of stuff. You know, I may be suspicious by nature, but I don't trust these guys, and I won't. Nobody's going to come in. Everything they've said so far, too, they've gone back on. Not going to mandate this. We're not going to do that. We're going to do this. We're not going to do that. And the next thing you know, we're giving $450,000 to illegals that came across the border, got put in jail, and their kids are separated from them. Just like everybody sitting in the Kirk County jail who has kids. Separated. They're not going to get $450,000. So I don't believe anything any of them say. I listened to Biden's speech the other day in Georgia. The lies were too numerous to even try to break them down. So I don't trust this administration. I don't want anything to do with money, and you all know what I think anyway. But those are some of the reasons. And this is tied to COVID, Commissioner Black, which makes it a little different than the other ones you were talking about. And we applied for the other ones as grants. They didn't just come to us in the mail.
I would encourage everyone to read SB 8 in third session, because every one of the 7 of the things we did on our agenda are funds out of that ARPA money. So we need to go back on. It's gonna, you know, and I'm not gonna convince anybody that, you know, one way or the other on that, but I would encourage you to read SB 8 in the third session, because it goes through the amount of money, exactly where it went, what they're allocated for, and at the end of each section, it says, we're spending this because of COVID. I agree, you know, Mr. Ballou and I politically are really close. I just think that, you know, and I agree with everything you said about this administration. They've been lying the whole time. But I don't see the connection, how it changes us one way or the other if we accept this funds, because it's included, but the state's already accepted the money, which was coming into us through the different agenda items we accepted today. And under the all federal money to the SAM government, or SAM compliance, we're obligated over everything at the same time.
Well, and I'll just jump in here now. I agree with everybody, all of y'all. You know, nobody wants mandates. I, for one, especially. You know, I haven't got the vaccine, don't plan on it. Sheriff's gonna have to drag me out of my house to get one if it comes to that. But I don't see this county doing it. I can tell you one thing. We don't have an immediate, nothing's changed a whole lot from last time. We had some movement on Supreme Court, not near enough, just like Bethany pointed out. Not enough. We've had some judges stop some different things on mandates and stuff. And there's a lot going on. There's going to be more litigation. A lot to come. The one saving grace on all this stuff, I mean, like I said last time, we don't have an immediate deadline on this. We're going to have a new House and Senate probably coming up. And I think everybody in this room would like to see the midterm elections tomorrow, but we got to wait till November. And that can change things. Right now, it's open-ended basically with executive orders and the language in it. That language can change with these people. Having said that, there's not an immediate deadline. I am not for sending it back today. Well, I'm definitely, and I want you to hear this, I'm not advocating spending it either right now. We can send it back a year from now, and the same thing, it's in the money collected interest, they can get the interest.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You're okay. Nobody thinks less of this administration than I do. I don't trust them, and that's just the way it is. Go ahead.
I personally think we have, that's a large amount of money, not trying to sell out. I think there are a lot of one-time items this county really needs, and I think we should look at it very, very close before we pass on it. Frankly, I tend to think that we should have a lot of confidence in our financial and legal and grant works advisors if we choose to do it, to make sure that we conform to what they require. But regardless, I'm not in favor of sending it right now.
Well, let me say, this is the fourth public meeting we've had on this, and I've seen many of you on other issues. And I'm very moved by the passion that y'all have for the issues that are near and dear to your heart. I truly do. I'm torn because I've taken an oath. I've taken this oath on at least 4 major events in my life. One when I joined the Army, one when I took the oath of office to become a lawyer, one when I went on the school board, and one just back in 2019 when I was sworn into this office. And it was not to be loyal to my political party no matter what. It was to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the laws of this country and the laws of this state, so help me God. Each time I've given that oath, tingles run down my spine. I have sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the state of Texas, and to follow their laws. I represent you. You are my constituents, but you're only a portion of my constituents. I represent everybody in Kirk County, not just the precinct. I represent them all. And 65% of the people put me in this office to exercise my best judgment. I'm not ready to break that oath to God. I'm not ready to do that. I'm not saying that there might not be issues that it's time to break an oath, but I'm not breaking it today. I'm telling you that. But I'm impressed with y'all. I truly am impressed. But I see this as a political issue. I keep hearing the Biden administration, this and that. Well, I didn't vote for him. You know that. But it's not a political issue at this point. This is a governance issue. And for the 65% of the people that voted for me a few years ago, and yes, I am running unopposed, and I welcome a write-in candidate. If somebody wants to run, let's have this debate. Let's take it to the streets. I'm ready to have that debate. But when I was elected, I not only represent you, I represent the 65% of the people that voted for me, but I represent the Democrats in this county, believe it or not. I represent the Libertarians in this county. I represent the atheists in this county. I represent everybody. And while my information gathering is not perfect, I do stay in touch with my base, both indirectly and directly. And most of them, believe it or not, stay in touch with me too. And I get I have received many emails from y'all. I'm impressed by those. I've received emails from what I call the silent majority here in the county. And they're conservative. They are conservative. They might not be as conservative you, but I bet you that they're still conservatives. And for the ones who aren't conservative, you know, they deserve representation too. When I say this, I know this is, what if they say this is not my first rodeo? When I joined the Army, I didn't like everything they told me to do, but I had to do it. I learned to do it. I bellyached about it a lot, but I learned to salute idiots, and y'all know what I mean. Well, you have to do that. When I ran for this job and got elected and when I got sworn in, I knew about all these grants. I knew about all this federal funding. And trust me, I know about the strings attached, and I know about fine print, and I know about loopholes. After all, you know, I'm a recovering lawyer. I can read those things and see it in there. There's a strings attached to every federal dollar that goes to KISD, every federal dollar that goes to Peterson. There's strings attached to every federal dollar everywhere. And our budget is just riddled like Swiss cheese with federal money. It really is. And so I hate to tell you folks, but we're stuck. I got a question from somebody out there who I won't disclose who it was. So just because we've gotten federal money, do you think that we can't say no? I'm not saying that you can't say no. I'm just saying it's not going to make any difference. You're just giving the money to somebody else. And it's not going back to the governor. The governor can say, oh, well, I want to send this over to Tom Green County. The governor has to,
Travis would be more like it.
Well, I don't think Abbott's going to do that. But what I will say, though, is the money goes back to the federal government. You think it's coming back to any red state? I don't think so. You know, there's already been a reference that there's going to be perhaps some sort of administration discrimination against the red states. Well, it is what it is, and we have to do the best we can do. And I'm not in favor of sending the money back because we are where we are, and we have to make the best of what we got. And but I will tell you that I'm very impressed with your group. I love the passion. I want to get us all on the same page and try to pull in the same direction. But that's where I am on this issue.
Well, I'm a little bit different. I'm not for sending it back today. I haven't said I won't vote to send it back at another time. But right now, these things are fluid, and there's things, moving parts. And like I said, we can get a new House and Senate, a new president before this deadline, and things can change. So we're very, very close in our opinions. Everybody in this room, I'm just saying, we can still do this. I'm pumping the brakes. There's other entities in this county that haven't so much as put up a speed bump. They're ready to spend the money right now and make no bones about it. That's happening. But we tend to let people talk and voice their opinions here, where some of the others don't as much. And so we hear it. And we're the ones that are putting a speed bump in front of it. We're not advocating it right now. We wouldn't even be talking about it if a lot of people wouldn't want to get it on the agenda again. So
these good people have come here today, they deserve a vote.
That's right.
So I'm asking, is there any more discussion or is it time to vote?
I want to say one other thing. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this unanimous vote that we had. The unanimous vote that we had was about us all being present if we're going to ever vote to spend $1 of this money. And I've heard that come back to me as you all voted to take the money and spend it, and a lot of other misinformation. This was something that we voted on, that we won't spend a nickel of it without everybody being present. And I voted for that because that's the best I could get that day. I still want to send the money back. But that's the best you can get, and that's what you do.
Well, we've been elected to represent the people and public, and it's time to have a vote. So I'm going to ask those in favor of sending the money back, raise your hand. Those in favor, not in favor of sending the money back, raise your hand. It's 4-1 vote. Honest conversation, honest vote. Thank you. Okay, we're away from timed items, so we're going to go back to, it's going to be item 1.11. Shane, you've been here the whole time. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve the contract with Johnson Controls for the annual inspection of the fire alarm and sprinkler systems at the adult probation office.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's just a basic contract for inspections, repairs. With signing this contract, we also get with a 10% discount on parts, labor when they show up to do repairs on the system or unscheduled repairs. They add $4,517 a year for that contract.
In your budget?
Yes, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
That's that one over with. 5-0. Move on. Items 1.22 and 1.23 have requested to be passed, and we'll deal with those in a future meeting. We'll move now down to item 1.26, which is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate actions.
Yeah. 112.
Okay, 112. Okay, 112. My apologies. I saw her here. This is your debut appearance. Item 1.12 is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a resolution and submittal of an application for the VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, grant for a special prosecutor for the 198th and 216th District Attorney's Office. And please let me introduce you to Noah Putnam, our new grant administrator.
Hello. I would like for the court to please pass the request for us to put in an application for a special prosecutor on behalf of the District Attorney's Office. At this time, it's a 30% matching, and it would be shared between the 198th and the 216th District Attorneys to specifically have a special victims prosecutor for violent acts against women.
When you say a 30% match, explain that, please.
For whatever amount, which at this grant is $75,000, there's a required 30% match of 30% of the funds need to be matched by the governing body. In this case, each of the DA's offices will take 15% from each of their budgets to supplement that match in order to meet the grant requirements.
Okay. And they have that
in our budget.
They do have it in their budget.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Stephen and Lucy have both stated that they will do the match, share the match.
Is the matches in their current budget or will be in their future budget?
In their future budget.
See, that's a big difference.
Are they sure of that?
This grant year starts on the day. Was that on the phone with you? The month before their fiscal year, so there might be required to be a budget amendment a month after.
But they should be able to cover the budget.
Is there a in-kind contribution, or does it have to be a cash match? Or do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I believe it's a cash match where they would put it into their budget. As far as what this will go for is solely for their salary position, and then any sort of applicable training in order to meet the requirements to have a special prosecutor. And they will match the funds to it from each of their budget, and also share, if possible, to do an MOU with the other counties involved, because it will serve a tri-county area.
Now, is this grant for 1 year and then we pick up the whole shoot match from then on?
We would continue to apply through the same
Keep applying?
Yes.
No guarantee, but we...
No guarantees.
We've done this before with, what was it, victim services?
It's FOCA.
Crime victims.
Yeah.
But there's always, ultimately, there's got to be a sustainability plan.
Right.
I mean, like with the Public Defender's Office, they gave us the first year for the startup, and then we've had the sustainability grant this last year, and when we had a meeting with TIDC, we asked them, well, how long is this going to go on? They said they have indefinitely, they had no plan to stop the sustaining grant, which is 1/3, 2/3. But at some point, we know it's going to stop. Well, it always stops. So there's got to be a sustainability plan at some point. We're looking at that right now with crime victims. Crime victims has gotten a grant for many years now. And they're starting to ask, do we have a sustainability plan?
I think I'm still in favor of doing this, because I look at it as, this is one way to get a conditional prosecutor partially funded through the grant. I know that both DAs have told me anyway, I shouldn't say both, one DA has told me that, workload, talk about workload and things of that nature, and to me this is a way to help them on their workload side.
Now, since it's called a special prosecutor, can they only take certain cases?
Only crimes against women, so they would be prosecuting crimes, for instance, like murder, rape, family violence, or domestic violence, any sort of crime that's against a woman would be acceptable under the grant, and they will only concentrate on those crimes within the districts.
But unfortunately, that's a fairly large part of it.
And my understanding is with the backload from COVID, there's a huge caseload that's backlogged. So there's definitely plenty of need.
I mean, I find it objectionable that they do something, crime against women only, but as the judge said a minute ago, it's part of the game we play, or have to play.
It's part of the system.
It's part of the system.
Well, how much does it alleviate the strain on the remainder of the court? I mean,
I think it's tremendously the backlog right now. They can't get to them, and so you've got.
They can't get to anything right now. What I'm talking about is percentage wise.
I defer to them to break down our percentages, but I just know that this violence against women is a huge problem.
Sure.
And we've got 3 counties, and we're going to get some participation from our sister counties. But at the same time, to be able to have 2 judicial districts, 2 district attorney's offices, share 1 prosecutor for 3 counties, I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to fill them up full time.
Do we know that the other counties will participate without going through their court?
Our standard agreement with them is they pick up their pro rata share.
Okay.
The problem with that memorandum of understanding, I don't want to get off topic here, it's not on the agenda, but it is rated, it is allocated, prorated on the basis of population every 10 years.
Sure.
We just got our new census. The PDO is allocated on the basis of case count every year, which is what I'd much rather see. So we might have a chance to revisit that.
With all that, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second. We got a motion and a second to approve the resolution to apply for the VAWA grant for a special prosecutor for the 198th and 216th District Attorney's offices. Any discussion?
Just for clarification, so that's to approve the resolution and the submittal of the application, correct?
Yes.
And the submittal of the application. Okay, those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.13, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve a resolution and submittal of an application for a JAG, Justice Assistance Grant, for the Kirk County Sheriff's Office. Ms. Butler.
Okay, this one is through the Office of the Governor as well as our JAG grant, and what they are looking for is to improve their technology, and this will provide for officer safety as well as public safety as well, and get them more modernized and up to date with the current software and enhancements, computerization and things in the county. I do have Scott Gage here that's welcome to answer any questions you have specifically, but what they're looking for is the e-citations, body camera, more body cameras. Their warranty is about to come due, so those need to be done. iPads for each of the amounts in each of the officers' vehicles, and this will also include animal control as well as our constables. And the service agreement in order to sustain these. And it is compatible with their current system, so they would not need to get a new system as far as their database and things of that nature, so they would all just flow in together seamlessly without additional funding.
So could the body cams that Reagan Givens was talking about today, we could get those out of this one.
That is something that was brought up to me today, and if you would like to speak to him a little bit better, but yes.
Yeah, I spoke with Reagan this morning. I wasn't aware that he was.
Oh, he's in a bind, man.
Yeah, exactly. Those ones that he's asking for, those are critical. Those guys definitely need it.
Right.
So that system is based on two things. You have a 4RE system, which is the internal, which is inside the vehicle, and then you have the Vista camera, which is the body-worn camera. So currently their 4RE system, which is based on a CD type system or a DVR type system. So when they record videos, they have to download that. Upgrading that system is actually going to put it onto the server for the sheriff's office, which is an online type deal. They'll be able to log in, pull all that evidence and stuff like that, put it onto a thumb drive, and be able to present it to court or to the district attorney through that system. But yeah, like he said, he initially had asked me. I think they were looking for the 7 or the 8 units, but critically he needed the 3 right off the bat. But we would be able to integrate throughout basically all of our county law enforcement. So that would be our constables as well as animal services with this grant of going into that system as well. So it's a Wi-Fi based system, so they will actually be able to download that data from any of the county Wi-Fi sources. So if they're at their new building, they have Wi-Fi, they're able to do it there. Same thing with the constables, wherever their state, wherever they're based out of, they'll be able to download that Wi-Fi as well. The other things that we were looking at also as county-wide. So just speaking with Noel, we kind of spearheaded this from the sheriff's office, but we're looking at this as a county-wide for our law enforcement for all 3 of these applications. So the iPads, which is going to allow us to computer automated dispatch, which is going to be able to put the officers that are in the field, they're going to be able to exchange information. They'll be able to run TLETs, which is license plates, all that type of information. Get up-to-date information on, be on the lookout for stuff, any kind of stuff that comes in regionally. Especially things where involved in law enforcement. We just had the Houston deputy that was killed over the weekend. That information would be put up over those iPads. Those officers have that immediate information in the field. Where right now we relay everything through dispatch. Officers or deputies are writing everything down. They have to go back and reference all that type of stuff. And then the other one was the e-citation system. I spoke to all the constables as well as the JP courts previously to this and the county attorney. It's basically going to make the program online. The deputies will be issued, or even animal services, they'll have a device kind of similar to your cell phone when they make traffic stops and all that type of information. All that data is defaulted into there. So any of our mandated reporting, the sheriff, he has to respond the racial profiling every year. This makes it a lot simpler because this is all defaulted field. So all of that information is filled in automatically and it's downloaded to the database. And when we go to report it, it's simple. We go in there and say, hey, report our racial profiling. All that information is sent. We don't have to go back through. Captain Prout right now, he spends weeks gathering that information to try to report it to the state. This is going to make his job extremely easy for that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You said make your job extremely easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. We'll say more efficient.
we know what you meant. I'm just teasing.
So those were basically the 3 projects we're kind of going for this grant. I think it'll, as a county-wide approach, it'll definitely make everything.
What's the amount?
We can say
$275,000.
So this has a minimum cap on this grant of over $10,000, but there's not an end cap on this. And then speaking with Noel about this, we could do it even as a progressive grant, right? Where they initially awarded us $150,000 towards the project, we could go back next year and try to gain the additional over the next couple of years. Just some sustainability would be some licensing stuff that we may have to approach for budgeting stuff, and which we may, maybe can, make it as a county-wide budgeting issue for licensing and some things like that. But our WatchGuard video, like she said, the warranty issues is about to come up. Also, we have a shortage on body-worn cameras. Like currently, the sheriff's office, our warrants unit don't have body-worn cameras. So these guys are out executing, serving warrants, dealing with the public. They don't have body-worn cameras. Just my experience in law enforcement, having those body worn cameras, helps us with liability as well as frivolous complaints. I don't know how many complaints that I've had from officers that are on traffic stops, go back and review the video, and people are saying, hey, this officer said this to me, they did this. We look at these body worn cameras, and we were able to dispel those complaints pretty quickly.
You're starting to oversell. I move for approval.
Okay. As for and Bruce, so working with IT, with the iPads, we're able to use a device. Are we talking about the device management? Okay, yeah. So we'll talk about the device management thing. So they'll be able to do IT. The thing about the iPads is we're able to monitor those devices a lot easier. Also, if one of those devices is lost, we can remotely wipe that device because it does have CGIS information that's on that. So that's the angle of going with using the iPad. And from my experience of speaking to some of our forensic computer guy, he says, hey, the Apple system is much more secured than a Windows-based laptop type system. So.
While I am not opposed to anything they're trying to do, I will caution the court that we are under a letter of noncompliance from CGIS. That means they cannot proceed until the compliance is granted by CGIS.
What has to be done to do that?
Infrastructure rebuilding, and we are in the process of it, but until that is complete and certified, they cannot proceed.
But they could have the money.
They could have the money.
Okay, so is this gonna be a server-based or cloud-based?
It will be local servers.
Okay, good. And is it proprietary?
Yes.
So we have to upgrade and pay for licensing?
All of the above.
Is the licensing expensive?
It's not cheap. All of that.
Well, I knew that, Bruce.
No, yes, it is expensive. That's what we're spending the large sum this year for.
Okay.
Is to get us in compliance with all of that, so that they can proceed.
This is in the works.
This is in the works, but we gotta caution not to go too far and get us in trouble.
So you would have to green light this project once we have certification?
Well, that's correct.
Okay. So then that's how we need to word our.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll reword it. I move for approval contingent on. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. Just real quick. So I mean, we can. Oh, sorry.
Let us vote.
Oh, sorry.
We got a motion and a second to approve the resolution and submittal of application for a JAG grant for Kerr County Sheriff's Office. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous? Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Get the yes, stop.
Sheriff, get your zipper.
I'll text him.
1.14, consider discuss and take appropriate action to approve a resolution and submittal of application for a VOCA grant. That's the Victims of Crime Act. Pam Peter.
Pretty much exactly the same as last year. I don't mix it up too much, just keep it simple. So that resolution is the same, and then I'm, much like Noel, asking that you approve the application that we will be submitting for continuing. What the judge said about sustainability is going to be a thing. I think we've got it covered for this year, but I think later on we need to come up with some deeper discussions about that. And that's not just my grant, that's grants.
Well, we're getting a little off track. You and I know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't yet. But what this grant application is submitted for is actually part of the sustainability that we've had with VOCA. So this is one of those follow-up grants that we've been getting now for many years.
Mm-hmm.
But they're starting to ask how we're going to be able to provide this in the future.
What we're looking at in the future is a new line on the budget.
It will be.
But this grant is
But
also.
this was not.
But this grant is also covering something that's required, we have to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the sustainability part of it's gonna be that we'll have to figure out how to come out of our general fund.
It's basically a temporarily funded mandate.
It's a way to get us, to help us get started.
And we've honestly had it more than some, so, I mean, we've done very well with this grant.
We've had a post-child with this grant. That's more than anybody, I think. But, and this may be our last year for it.
Don't say that, Judge Kelly.
We don't know.
Please find some wood up there to knock on. Don't jinx my grant writing, please.
Motion we approve the resolution and submit the application for the victim of crime act.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution and submittal of the grant application for VOCA. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
We'll take a
Okay.
break.
We need a break? Let's take a short break, 5-minute break, and come back and finish this up. We'll come back to order. I think we're on 1.26, is that right? Yes. Okay. Consider discuss and take appropriate action to set a workshop meeting on Monday, February the 7th to evaluate the needs of the county clerk's office.
Jackie was gonna call in.
But we're way behind, so.
Well, but we know what it is, and it has to do with some of the software over there, and the workshop that we're also trying to piggyback on for
CIP.
the CIP. CIP's ready to come talk to you about the cost and everything. We're gonna do what Jody and I worked on is to start one workshop at 9 o'clock, probably the CIP, and then start Jackie's at 10:30. And make that just a workshop day.
Oh, there he is.
Jackie,
Good morning.
good morning. We're talking about your workshop.
Sorry. Great. Okay. Did y'all not need to take the other items? Was there something Lucy Wilkie needed to do?
She passed those. 22
Got
and
it.
23.
Okay. Yeah. I think there's a delay. Well, I'm
Yeah.
ready when y'all are. Do y'all have any questions about setting?
Well, I just kind of set the stage that we're looking to do a workshop for you on the 7th, and probably piggyback a workshop for the CIP to come talk to the court about the bond issue and the amounts and all the different projects. And what you and Jackie and you and Jody and I had talked about informally is maybe doing the CIP at 9 o'clock and doing you at 10:30. Is that right?
Yes. That way I can let Sedlar know.
Okay. And I didn't give them any detail. I don't know the software program that you want the workshop on, but I know this is something that we've got to do. What, Laserfish that we're trying to replace?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Right. But it's
And it's going to affect several other departments, which is why I think we needed a workshop. That way others could come in and, have their input, definitely, because I don't want to affect on other departments.
no, all good.
Okay.
Okay, so February 7th at 10:30?
Well, let's pass the motion here. We got a motion and a second to have a workshop. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, Jackie.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Have a wonderful day.
You too, thanks. Item 1.27, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to accept the racial profiling report from Constable Precinct 2, Kyle Snyder. It's in our materials. This is something we routinely do, and we have to improve on a regular basis, annual basis. Precinct 2?
Recommend approval already.
Okay. Got a motion and a second to approve the racial profiling report for Constable Precinct 2. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.29, we've already done 1.28. 1.29, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to set a date for the Texas Comptroller Economic Development presentation. Commissioner Retz.
Yes, this is something that we talked a little bit about a couple of months ago, that we need to have a workshop on economic development, and it seems like a good way for us to get up to speed is to follow up on that workshop. Jody contacted them. It looks like March 30th is the first time that Mr. Alvarez has available.
Yes, sir.
When's that?
That's a Wednesday?
I gave multiple options, but he didn't like any of them, and March 30th is what he came back with. And it's 8 a.m., 8 to 12 is what they're saying via Zoom.
March 30th?
March 30th.
Tentatively say yes. And I like that.
At what time?
8 o'clock.
8 a.m.
8 to 12.
Okay.
You said by Zoom?
It's by Zoom, and then, I'm not sure if he's the only one that can do that. I mean, he's the one who's done this thing, but we ought to get it on the schedule anyway. I think it's a worthwhile workshop. I don't know if we need a motion for that.
So we're going to set a workshop on March 30th, 8 to 12, Zoom meeting with the Texas Comptroller Economic Development presentation. Good. Move on to 1.30. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to reappoint Cheryl Derringer to the Emergency Services District Number 2 to work for an additional 2-year term.
Yes,
Okay.
Cheryl's done an excellent job, and she's agreed to serve one more term. And so I move that we appoint Cheryl Derringer to the ESD number 2 for another 2-year term.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.31, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to approve and submit for publication the request for sealed bids for lease of the Kirk County Juvenile Facility located at 3499 Legion Drive. This is, we talked about this before, this is the 48-bed unit that we use for storage right now, that we have a chance to lease. And if you recall, you appointed Jason and Beck and I looked at how we go about trying to determine fair market value. And so we're going to put out these RFPs and see what comes in to be able to come up with a value for a lease. And at this point, the state is completely without available beds. So this is going to be, I think, pretty hot commodity.
As I recall, it was Commissioner Gibson's idea that the best way to figure it out is let the market decide.
It was, and we followed in tow. We saluted.
Yep.
And marched on.
We did.
I agree.
Good idea.
Anything else, Jason?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Judge, I had a couple of questions on the form that I wanted to be able to include in the request for sealed bids. One of them is whether or not y'all talked about making improvements part of the rent for some portion of it, whether you wanted that to be included in this request. I know that the expectation will be, or I understand that the expectation of whoever's making this will modify the building to suit their needs.
Yeah, but that's a negotiation thing. That's not something you put out first.
Well,
that's something you hear what they want. That's my 2 cents.
I agree. I'd like to see what they're willing to do and what kind of concessions they're going to want from us.
I'll remove that paragraph then from the submission. There were a couple of other dates that need to be included before it's published.
Yes, how are we going to evaluate who wins without doing what Harley was talking about?
Well, that was the whole point of this, is that you're going for high bidder as opposed to low bidder normally.
But if this one says, I'll provide this, and the other one says, no, you'll provide this.
My suggestion is that you start with the price, and you work your way through whatever the other demands are. So, I mean, unless you object to that.
No, not at all. I mean, it's pretty rare. I agree with you. I think it's got to be open-ended, but there's likelihood of other little factors that have to be considered, but there are considerations. The main thing is you got to the point that you do have a market response, and that's what gets us over the hump, and that's the main thing.
Exactly. Right. But we may not actually take the high bidder, depending on concessions.
The language in the request also speaks to responsibility of the bidder, because you all might want to consider how they've run facilities in the past, any kind of state reporting or complaints that they've had. There may be a list of various things you'll want to consider in doing this, and I'd recommend adding some language to the request if you want to know whether or not they have any complaints or reports to the Texas Juvenile Justice Department over some handful of years. I don't know what that number might be, but I think it might become important to you if you're going to have a facility operating locally.
But that's part of our due diligence.
Yeah, but you want to write it in the RFP. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But some of these things we know we're going to, especially with regard to the improvements, who's going to pay for what, how they're going to handle that.
Yeah.
One of the things that Jason and I talked about today is we've talked about trying to be able to reserve certain number of beds for Kirk County. That's not in this RFP. That's something that we would have to negotiate. And so this thing, when we get these bids, and we get somebody that we can work with, and we award the bid, then we can sit down and start working on the additional things.
There's probably something else we have thought of that's going to show up. So all we can do is.
But I defer to the county attorney on each one of those. I'm good with that.
Now, do you have something you want to say?
I got can I ask a question first?
I want to get him to say something more than no, Your Honor.
My question, is it acceptable to accept all bids and negotiate with all at one time?
That's not good faith, is it?
I'm just wondering, how do you do it?
So
there's only a couple players out there.
Right.
You accept all the bids, and then you can rank it. The committee can rank it. So this is what we did when.
So we'll go with this one. If that doesn't work out, we'll go to this one. If that doesn't work out, maybe we go back to that one.
We have to
You can rank
tell
them.
Charlie to figure out how to do it.
Okay.
You can't be negotiating with everybody at once.
No.
We need to get one. Okay. Anyway, I was.
And then once we get them on board, there are additional things that we will cover.
Okay.
Jason, why don't you go ahead and go to the podium, because it's really important that Commissioner Blue see you before.
Got all dressed up. You usually think things through pretty well, so you got any extra input?
Commissioner, I really can't think of anything. The county attorney and I have kind of gone through the contract. As the judge alluded to, we've got a handful of possible suitors for the building. Two that are currently operating juvenile secure facilities in the state. One is a company that's working more on the CPS, DFPS side. I think that all three of those are interested. We might have some others once we start shaking the bushes. I know for a fact that TJJD was interested in this building, and I've kind of advised the committee against that, and there's reasons for that. But no, I don't think, to answer your question and not get off into the weeds, I don't think that there's anything that needs to be in this current, that I would recommend be in this current document, other than that if the court wants to look at, and again, I think probably more for the committee initially than the committee to bring it to the court, because any company that comes in is going to have to make some significant financial investment to get the building up to Texas Juvenile Justice Department standards. And that's going to be obviously a negotiation at some point in time, and that's probably going to have to be determined before we can actually get to a rate. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Well, the county benefits from that.
Yeah, and Jason, one of the things that we learned on all this is that, by and large, the potential bidders are looking for short-term contracts. This is a 2-year lease. In our case, for 2 years, which is very short.
Yeah.
And normally we would want something longer than that, but that's what they're expressing interest in. And so, for just the 2 years, for them to bring that facility up to standards, and allow us to, if they don't renew the lease it to somebody else, we're way ahead of the game.
Within the whole juvenile detention world, why would somebody want a short-term contract?
Great question. And the answer is the legislature meets every 2 years, and the juvenile justice world potentially changes every 2 years. Money.
We learned the hard way.
Yeah. I thought that had been discussed, but I couldn't remember what that was.
Well, it kind of surprised me. I was talking about 10-year leases.
Well, I was.
They looked at me like, are you boss?
You trust those guys?
Yeah. Yeah. What it also allows for, the advantage of it is it allows for competitive bidding 2 years hence after somebody is resurrected it.
Yeah, right.
Which should up the bid.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, that's theoretically.
Yeah, that's the beauty part of it.
Yeah.
The other side of the coin.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve to submit the publication of the sealed bids for the lease of the Kirk County Juvenile Detention Facility located at 2499 Legion Drive, and authorize county judge, county attorney, and Jason, whatever your title is, to finalize the publication document.
Well, that's a long motion. I'll second it.
Well, it's something, I know he's something like that.
Exalted ruler's fine. Grand Bourbons, babysitter, any of the above.
I go, whenever I see Jason Hall, I think baseball because of Jackson and Sam, and then I go, whatever it is.
So we've got a motion, is there a second? We got a motion and a second. Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Jason. 1.32 is to consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to review the liaison responsibilities in terms of liaison appointments. We talked about this last meeting. It's attached to this agenda. Nothing's changed. Do y'all want to adopt it the way it is, or tweak it?
I don't have any problems with the way it is unless somebody else does.
I'm good.
Fine.
I'm good.
We had Commissioner Harris on the courthouse security. We did do that.
Yes, I forgot about that, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe, I don't think there's a reason to change anything right now. You know, till that seat changes and what have you, then possibly.
I agree with that. I would recommend, and I read the responsibilities again, and we're not really good at following through on our responsibilities. So I would have to look to Jody. I think on once a quarter on an off Monday, we ought to put in to have all of our, discussions.
Wouldn't hurt.
Of our liaison.
Well, I'll get together with Jody, we'll just pick a regular, second month of the 3-month period or something like that, put it on a Monday.
Well, I put it on an off meeting because.
We'll put it on an off, the
Yeah.
thing, like, get it scheduled and try to get everybody working on your
Get it
calendar.
scheduled, yeah.
So you work around it.
So quarterly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for once a quarter, we'll just have a special Monday meeting where we can go over and do what's on here. And also,
At quarter, you got 3 months, you got first month and last month, so the middle month on an off Monday.
yeah,
And we're gonna make it the third Monday of the month, since we don't get on the third Mondays routinely.
You're talking about conforming to the reports that.
Right,
just
and
right.
get together so that we can talk about
Yes.
the things that we're not doing.
The reporting that we're not doing.
The reporting we're not doing.
The reporting we're not doing.
and the evaluations we're not doing.
Yes.
Timely.
That we need to do. And it's not that we have to be busy, but these are things that they're important responsibilities for us, we need to try to comply.
Well, typically,
We'll use it up.
when things are going well, you don't have those meetings or talk to people, and so things, it's a reflection of the fact things are going well.
Right. Nothing,
Yeah, I mean,
nothing to report.
so nobody gets excited, I mean.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
we have a motion to keep it as it is.
I will.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we passed that one. 1.33, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action regarding applying for a TIDC, Texas Indigent Defense Commission grant or other related grants to allow for the hiring of a pretrial coordinator due to the new requirements related to Senate Bill 6, the Damon Allen Act. This is a twofold thing. It came up, first of all, when I first took office, I went down to Medina County to see what their pretrial coordinator did, and it's fantastic what they do. They take a whole lot of workload off of the JPs with regard to magistration and setting bonds and these things. And they also handle the appointment of the Indigent Defense Council. And I thought it was a great deal, but came back and there was no appetite for it at that time. But as we got into the PDO, what we learned is Kendall County has one and Medina County has one, and folks over at the PDO just love it. They just breeze through the process. Bandera, Kerr, and Gillespie, the real heart of the hill country, don't. And Kerr County is the largest county in the PDO, and we were at the last oversight board committee meeting. Darcy Casey, who's on our board, he is the pretrial coordinator in Medina County. I thought this is, all y'all need to do this. And so, Mr. Lesson, I said, well, why don't let the PDO do it? And turns out it has to be done by county. But there are grants available to do it. And she's offered to help us. We agreed to accept her help. I came home, got busy with the holidays, and forgot about it. And she sent me a text reminding me that we need to apply to get this pretrial coordinator. And at least apply for the grant and see where we are with it. And they've been getting sustaining grants down in Medina County. And this is something that the state's pushing, and the state's helping pay for it. And everybody's telling us that it's a good deal and we ought to do it, so I put it on the agenda for us to talk about it. And then Senate Bill 6 came along, and we agreed to require us to do it.
So, these grants, how much they pay? Percentage?
I don't remember, it would depend on each office. I mean, in Dayton County, they have kind of revamped that a little bit, where she's doing quite a bit. I mean, I don't know if she's 100% this grant, but she does a lot of other work here. I'm not sure there's people in that office.
They do the pretrial coordination, and they go through and review all of the factors for setting bond, whether or not somebody's entitled to personal cognizance bond, violence. They make those recommendations to the court, and they handle the appointment of the indigent defense counsel, whether they're private counsel there in town or San Antonio that are hired to represent them appointed by the court, or whether they come through the PDO. So that whole function would be basically taking somebody and putting them with the PDO on the defense side and the district attorney's offices in these 5 counties to coordinate the appointment of the indigent defense attorney.
And Darcy thinks that for us, probably more so than any county, because we have 2 DAs, that it would be very helpful to us. It's a coordinated position. And it's really, I look at it as on some of the other grants we're applying for. It's a position that we either are already doing it, we already are doing it, but this way it will lighten the workload of some other people that frequently say that they're overworked and get the state help pay for it.
So the public defender's office cannot by law do this? We are required to do it?
It's not that they're required by law, it has to do with their governance structure. That's a 5-county office. And each county has their own pockets. And so you got to coordinate with that county back to PDO. Or to like our district attorney. Our district attorneys do multi-counties.
Yeah, but this streamlines it, so that makes sense.
It's a coordinated position that they found very useful chance of that.
So we go back to Commissioner Harris's question, which is how much? Yeah. And
well, I don't know. I'm just trying to get authorization to apply for it because at this point we don't even know what's available.
Where do we house them?
In Reagan's old office.
We're dragging extra trailer.
We might be able to get the PDO now.
Yeah, they might.
I would hope.
Well, I
They're
would
the
think
ones pushing
so.
us to do it.
If they're the ones that, they're the beneficiaries, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll probably do that.
There's office space in
You want to ask?
Well,
And for those
and
of
they
you
do
that-
have extra
For
space.
those of you that have not toured the PDO, you need to go over and see it. We went over last Friday with the
Yeah.
open house. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. We ought to at least look into it further and apply, get into the details, and we won't know that. It'll have to come back to us to make the application. I think we need to proceed to get to
Investigate.
the application.
Okay.
And that'll be what Darcy can help with.
So we have a motion and a second.
Motion that we proceed with preparing the application.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous by vote. Item 1.34. Consider discuss and take appropriate action to approve the environmental impairment annual liability renewal application for a storage tank at 3766 State Highway 27 in Kerrville and 3672 Highway 27 in Ingram.
I can handle this. This is road and bridges, fuel tanks. They have to have a liability policy for them. I know you
I
looked
figured
at
she was standing up for
I
that.
didn't see you over there. And this is renewal of those policies.
Standard.
Standard for approval.
And second. Got a motion and a second to approve the environmental impairment annual liability renewal application. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.35, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to allow Flat Rock Park to be reserved for Easter Fest to be held Saturday, April the 16th. And I've finally figured out that all these two went through HR because it involved insurance.
No, I
I
was
was
gonna ask
wondering
that.
myself. I'm going, what in the world?
Or recent
Okay.
problem
Easter
was,
Fest went through HR because Jennifer's on that leadership Kerr County.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
But
when I
part
first
of-
started, I was scratching my head going.
Yeah.
Jennifer talked to me about
Part of this also, and I don't know, Heather would have to answer, but part of Easter Fest, they serve alcohol at that event. So in order to serve alcohol at Flat Rock, the TABC needs a letter from the county stating that they've approved the event. Can we do that as part of this agenda item also, or does she need a different one? I don't think it's a big time constraint, so I don't think it's a huge issue to put it on the next.
I would put it
I
on the
prefer to
next
have
agenda.
it specifically approved.
Right.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the use of Flat Rock Park for Easter Fest.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. 1.36, consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to set the date for a workshop to discuss the subdivision rules and regulations.
Well, we need to do this.
Yes, we do. We've got the draft. I don't know if you started trying to wade through it. It's late night reading.
Yeah. Several lines.
But suffice it to say, the key aspects of these proposed revisions are water availability and wastewater availability. And everything is basically hinged on that. And the water availability is basically a determination that we will rely on the headwaters.
Sure.
Because of what it is. We need a workshop to talk about it.
Yes,
And I talked to Don Vocal when he was here today. I visited Lee before and John Hewitt, our locals. We'd like to get their input as we go through this finalization process.
Well, can we do it on off Monday?
Yeah.
Like the 31st or right on? That's the next one.
We got to give a check to see what his availability is.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think we ought to do it soon.
As soon as we can.
Okay. Well,
That's just next week, so maybe
Yeah.
the weekend.
Yeah, 7th maybe.
yeah.
7th, we have,
Yeah, we already.
Then we
have
got
it.
the
Yeah,
other.
let Jody and I reach out to,
Okay.
when I say Jody and I, you know who's gonna help me.
and Jody,
So you just want it on the closest off Monday that we
Off
can.
Monday. And we need to set aside at least a half a day, I said maybe even the whole day.
probably I think we're gonna have to have, we
Probably
really,
have-
probably should try to
Set up
get two with Chuck,
I agree.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's gonna wanna go through it and take slow, and there's some things that we really have to look at, such as, we require plating on some things that, in my mind, are somewhat unnecessary. As an example, if they're not laying out a road, they're just selling off 6 acres on the county road. What is the benefit to the public for plating that? Right. Gillespie County exempts that, they don't have to plat. I think it's up to less than three, and they have some criteria, if you're just selling off tract of land, you don't have to plat it. Adjusting lot lines, there's some things that we really need to look at, over there.
Oh, they just.
Yeah, a lot of things that we really need to talk about a little bit.
I think one of the biggest balancing acts we're gonna have to do with the revised subdivision is making sure that we have stringent enough rules to be able to regulate prudent growth and development of our county. Offset with the mom and pop transactions, how many of these do we really need to get involved in? And
Exactly.
the more we can simplify it, for that end of it, I'm all for it.
Sort of
Because,
common sense.
we're I say gates. The gate's about to open. The floodgate is gonna open and they're coming. They're already here, but they're really gonna come. And so we need to get these subdivision rules and as many things as we can take out of them that are reasonable to take out, the better.
Right.
And so that what we end up with are things that we really are going to be enforcing day in and day out. I'm still gonna run no variance.
Well, I haven't looked to see if we've made provision for people that had their property before 2007 and the right-of-way issue.
Those are, I think we're gonna have at least, we need
Have
two,
to
at least
hammer
two
that
workshops to get all that done, to help those people.
Good.
Okay, so we've got our marching orders on that. She will remind
She's
you.
gonna pick the date.
Now, if
Yep.
Chuck, if we just ask Chuck as soon as he can do it?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we have to stick to a Monday? Can we be a little flexible?
My guess is he can't.
Oh, I think he's got a lot more flexibility.
You think so?
I would say, we get some dates.
Mondays, Wednesdays, what are the to-do days that we can't do anything?
Wednesdays are usually
Thursdays are bad for me.
Some Wednesdays are, I mean, depends,
Yeah, I've got a few dates I can't in February, but, you know,
I
we
see.
get half a
I
dozen
think
dates.
Tuesday, something every
Chuck, and then we
Tuesday.
can,
She juggles this somehow, I don't know how she does it. but
It'll get
come up with some
done.
dates.
It will get done.
And that's a compliment.
Yes.
Okay, 1.37, consider, discuss, take appropriate action to accept the racial profiling report from Constable Precinct 3. Same as we did.
I move we accept that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to accept the racial profiling report from Constable Precinct 3. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Approval agenda. Budget.
We have an addendum also, Judge.
Oh, definitely the addendum, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The addendum is 1.38. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action to affirm authorization of the auditor's office to renew the SAM registration annually. We just talked about that tonight.
Yep.
Everybody knows what it is.
And annually, we just have to go in and fill out the form, and the auditor's office has been doing it.
And from our discussion, last year we had about $2.8 million from federal assistance.
We did. And there was another $4 million that came from the state, so a lot of that, you still have to have SAMs in order to apply.
Yeah, I move that we authorize the auditor's office to annually renew the SAM registration.
I like it, annually renewed. Yes. Good. So we've got a motion to authorize the auditor's office to annually renew the SAM registration. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Budget amendments.
Yes, we have 4 budget amendments that are line item adjustments. That's number 20, 22, 23, and 24. They're just moving in different departments from one line into another. We have one budget amendment that's for $302. It's just for certifying new revenue. It's from insurance proceeds. And then the final one on your list is just truing up what was remaining from the prior year in the sheriff's office equipment donation fund.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the budget amendments as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Pay bills.
Yes. Invoices for today's consideration amount to $1,232,638.09.
I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the bills as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Late bills.
There are not any.
Auditor reports.
There are not any.
Monthly reports.
Yes. For December 2021, Justice of the Peace, JP1, Mitzi French, District Clerk, Dawn Lance, Animal Control Services Director, Reagan Gibbons, County Treasurer Monthly Report, Tracy Sullivan, and Certificate of Completion of Continued Education, Tax Assessor, Collector Bob Reeves. I move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the monthly reports as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous. Court orders.
We have the court orders from our January 10th meeting, 39140 to 39157. They all look to be in order. Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the court orders as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Unanimous, 5-0. Information agenda, status reports from department heads. Do you have any left in the room? Oh, Bruce is here. You're good. 3.2, status reports from elected officials. Sheriff.
Judge Corey, I know y'all been here a long time. I'll make it quick. Just a quick status report on Officer Uribe. Back in October, y'all approved him to go through our FTO program. He completed it last week with no issues. I think it's a very good program. I can tell you, I guess on the negative side, it took 12 weeks. It takes a long time to train somebody properly. But on the positive side, there was no cost. And as far as liability-wise, he's trained just like our deputies. And officer safety-wise, I know on a daily basis, my guys will be more comfortable working with it. But I think it's a good program, and we entertain that in the future if another position ever comes over.
All the good, you did a good report. Any other elected officials? 3.3, status report from liaison commissioners.
Yes, maintenance. Friday evening, they're going to start, have some people come in and do the floor out here in the foyer and get it done over the weekend.
Good.
The Veteran Service Office, I think, put in a quarterly status of performance throw them into the country, just so you got that.
You know anything about when Marty's coming back, if ever?
May 1st, or in May is what I've been told.
I know she got a motion and they like her, I hope she comes back.
I will say this, that the lady that's been filled in, who hired us part-time, is on it, and doing a good job.
She is, and she's doing a great job, but she's retired and she doesn't want to do it full-time, and our veteran needs in this county require full-time.
Especially with the passing of Allen Hill. It's gonna put a lot more work on this office.
Yes, it will.
Okay, I don't think we have anything on the executive agenda, do we?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, there being no other business before the court, we will stand adjourned.